All right, bro. I'm gonna get this stuff going quick. I am going to show a couple clips. We're gonna get some clips in, and then we're gonna get into the court hearing day today. Massive stuff going on in the Tyler Robinson case here, the Charlie Kirk situation. So we're gonna be doing a stream like this today. People have a problem with it. I don't get views. It is what it is. It's for the clips. So yeah. All right, bro. All right. So, anyways, it is what it is, bro. Uh, yeah. So there's a couple things I want to go over. So first off, welcome to the stream, guys. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope you guys have had a blessed week so far. It is Friday, day 5 of the Tyler Robinson trial, the final day, and I must say, watching some videos here, I'm really questioning whether or not like Charlie Kirk's parents and Erica Kirk are getting along, or if they're on the same team per se. Because one thing that we know, or we've speculated on in the past, is that they're not really happy with the way Erica Kirk is trying to take Charlie's name and likeliness and kind of just sign everything over to her. And apparently there was some sort of court documents being filed from them to stop that. So I don't really know. But what I do know is that if they were really close, why is it that when it comes to Charlie Kirk's parents and Erica Kirk arriving at court, they are not together, right? They're arriving separately. They don't get out of the car and console one another. They just get out of the car and walk into court separately, right? So this is a clip of Charlie Kirk's parents and Erica Kirk arriving to the court hearing at the same time. There's no looking over at the parents from Erica saying, "Hey, how you doing? I hope everything's okay. I hope you're doing well. Much love." Type of situation like that. So we're going to go over this video. It's like 30 seconds. I just want to watch it with you guys and see what you guys think. So let me know down in the comments. But this is, to me, odd, right? You would think that when Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk's parents arrived to the court proceeding at the same time, that there would be some sort of, you know, um, communication, I guess, right? So, I mean, they're not even looking over at her, right? I mean, dude, like, to me, it's kind of like they're trying not to look over at Erica, right? So Erica's over here. and this is Charlie Kirk's father and mother. They're not even looking over at Erica. It's like they're mad, like they're trying not to look over, from my opinion, right? See if the sound is working here. Okay, it is. Just making sure everything's good for you guys. But yeah, man, that's just my opinion. Is why isn't Charlie Kirk's parents and Erica arriving to court together? You know, it's a valid question, right? But anyway, let's get into it. I mean, they're just looking straight forward, not even looking over. They're not even looking at each other. Like, Erica doesn't even look over at them. I mean, even still into the tunnel, they don't even, converse with each other, right? There is no, hey, how you doing? Are you doing all right? None of that. There is no actual, to me, effort on both sides.
And it's interesting to me, no one asks any questions from the press corps in the morning
So yeah, I just think it's odd. And again, we'll look at his face, look at the mother's face. Why is there no, like, it seems like there's an effort for them to just keep looking forward, don't even look at Erica, But, with that, apparently they're saying that this is how the courtroom is laid out, right? So over here is the prosecution, right? Here's the defense, media over here. So apparently in the front row in the gallery, it's Dad, Mom, and Erica, right? So Charlie Kirk's dad, Charlie Kirk's mom, and Erica Kirk. Sitting right in the front together. How that's going, I don't know. Apparently Tyler Robinson's dad and mom are in the second to back row. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And like I said, I just find it very interesting that Tyler Robinson's mom and dad, Charlie's mom and dad don't even try and look at Erica, and Erica doesn't even try and look at them, right? I wanted to go over too, just real quick. Yesterday, Lance appeared in court, and it's funny because I was on stream the other day. And I said, we haven't heard from Lance. He's a big part in this case. Why have we not heard from Lance Twiggs, right? Like, you think that we'd hear from him from now, or see some sort of arrest, right? Because, I mean, dude, he's got to be some sort of co-conspirator with this guy, allegedly. But anyway, and I said, wouldn't it be theatrics? They're so trying to put on a show for you guys if the first time we see from Lance is in court. And look at here, it happened. And the way he's talking is like, he doesn't sound like a furry. But I guess they come in all shapes, sizes, and sounds, right? I mean, that's just how it is. I'm not going to go over this as much because we've all watched it. But, he says that they've never talked about it, blah, blah, blah. And we'll go over this clip later. But I just find it weird. Like, this is him talking before everything.
Cookie boxes, but here's the magic part.
So he did talk like this.
For Christmas, I got one of those cookie boxes, but here's the magic part. Watch this. There are actually cookies inside of here, and I've never seen that in my life.
Okay, so, he does talk like that, but I just find it odd. So Robinson, court is going on now, so we'll watch some of it. It's supposed to begin at 11. So what's 11 Eastern where I'm at? What, 10? Would that be 10?
This dialogue is to ensure clarity regarding the expectations
KSL
governing
Plus.
today's proceedings. Could you both please state your roles for today's hearing?
My role is to capture full photography.
Yeah, it's not showing they're live in court. Why? How does Valhalla have it? Here it is.
Yes.
Do you require additional time to review the order or to adjust equipment to ensure compliance?
No.
Do you anticipate any difficulty complying with the order?
No.
All right. Thank you both. Before we begin this morning, the court wishes to acknowledge the importance of the safety, dignity, and well-being of all those who are present or who may be present during these proceedings, including the parties, counsel, witnesses, court staff, and members of the public. The court is also mindful of its solemn obligation to protect and uphold the constitutional rights of Mr. Robinson and Ms. Kirk. In furtherance of those important interests, all persons attending these proceedings are reminded that portable electronic devices
What about Charlie's family? Oh, for Robinson and Miss Kirk. What about Charlie's parents who are sitting right there?
are not permitted in the courtroom or on the fourth floor. Cell phones are not permitted in the courtroom unless expressly authorized. Any unauthorized possession or use of a cell phone or electronic device in the courtroom may be addressed by the court. For those individuals who have a cell phone, I invite you to join me as I silence my cell phone to ensure that the proceedings today can proceed without distraction. The court also expects every person in attendance will be treated with the dignity and respect to which they are entitled. Consistent with this court's standing decorum order, all spectators shall remain quiet, civil, and orderly at all times. Spectators shall not engage in conduct that is distracting, disruptive, provocative, disrespectful, uncivil, or threatening in any manner. Spectators shall not make audible comments of any kind, shall not shake or nod their heads, and shall not make gestures or of other visible reactions during the hearing. Spectators shall also not wear or display pins, buttons, signs, clothing, photographs, or other items expressing support for or in opposition to any person connected with this case or expressing any position concerning the status of this case as a capital offense. The court appreciates the cooperation of all present in maintaining a courtroom environment that is safe, respectful, and orderly, and faithful to the rights and dignity of every person involved. All right. My understanding is the parties wish to address an issue before we get started. Is that correct?
We may.
Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good morning. I passed up to the court after providing copies of it to counsel for the state and counsel for the media, a single piece of paper. Does the court have that?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. So every morning, this court has a colloquy with the camera operators about their ability to comply with this court's orders. And they acknowledge that they understand the order and that they can comply with it. And the court asks them if they have any problem with it, and they state to the court that they do not have a problem with it. We also spent many, many, many hours of court time addressing which exhibits will and will not be published through the electronic media. And this exhibit, the court ordered would not be published through the electronic media, and it was. And without belaboring the point, the court can imagine our concern that the media and the state who control this exhibit and the publication of this exhibit in the courtroom as per the court's orders failed to comply with this court's orders after all of the effort that we made and the court made to make sure that the court balanced everybody's rights, including the rights that we're concerned about, which are Mr. Robinson's. No doubt the counsel for the media and counsel for the state will say that it was a very, very brief mistake, that it was corrected as soon as they realized the error, but it's done. It's out there, it's photographed. I'm informed secondhand that if I want to buy this image and maybe even have it framed and put behind museum quality glass, I can do so and put it up in my office. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. But my point is, it doesn't matter how long the court's order was violated. When we live in an electronic world, it's done and it's permanent. And we just wanted the record to be clear that we're concerned that the court's orders have been violated, and they've been violated with respect to an order that was specifically designed to protect Mr. Robinson's right to a fair trial. And I don't want to belabor the point any further. I'm also not going to refer to the exhibit with any more specificity because it's not necessary.
Is there a requested remedy or potential sanction that you feel is warranted given the actions which you have outlined this morning?
I think that we would like to think, when I say we, I mean Mr. Robinson's counsel, about that. We have, as the court knows, repeatedly asked this court, moved this court, not to have electronic broadcast of this proceeding, of any of the proceedings, and specifically this proceeding. The court denied those motions and overruled our objections to the specific EMC requests. So I think it's a little premature, but I can represent to the court that we will suggest a remedy in advance of the next hearing.
Well, Mr. Novak, I appreciate that, but I would ask that if it is something that is concerning, that it be addressed immediately. So I'm not going to wait until I recognize and appreciate what you have described, and this was on my mind a lot last night as well.
Okay.
I don't want to sit on this, so I ask you respectfully to confer with your counsel and come up with that, because I want to address it. I agree. It is concerning, and it warrants examination and to be addressed immediately, especially as we have a little bit left of our preliminary hearing. So I want to give it the weight it is needed, and I don't disagree with you.
Then why don't we beg the court's indulgence? We don't need to empty the courtroom. We can go talk about what we think an appropriate measured sanction would be, and we can bring that suggestion back to the court in a few minutes.
All right. Well, before we do that, I want to turn to the state and to the media to address what you've addressed, and then obviously if there's a part two, then therefore.
And I appreciate the invitation, and I also appreciate the court's desire to address the consequences, if any, immediately.
Thank you, Mr.
I was not
Novak.
trying to delay it. I just think it's an issue which warrants some thought. The court has said it gave it some thought. We will have a suggestion very briefly.
Thank you. Turning to the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think at the outset it's important to recognize that everyone's doing their best here. The court is, I know the clerks are, I think the media is, we certainly are, and the defense is. This issue came up in the context of an examination of a witness. One exhibit was published. Before the exhibit at issue was also brought onto the screen, I explained what we were going to do, and then the exhibit was brought onto the screen. I reviewed the video last night. The camera captured this for approximately 2 seconds. The camera operator, I think, acting in diligence and appropriateness, immediately panned as soon as she realized that there was a new exhibit on the screen. The court took it down as soon as they realized that an exhibit was on the screen. I immediately instructed my paralegal to take it down, and it was. Defense, I think everyone involved here made quick and appropriate efforts as soon as they realized a mistake had been made to remedy and mitigate that issue. As I explained what I was what we were going to do, defense counsel did not object.
Sorry, guys. I was just getting the thumbnail going for the video. So if you guys check out the video, it'll have a thumbnail. Try and do better with my content. So
As that happened. And the reason I bring that up is because of the requirement for timely objections. Moreover, I do want to say this exhibit was read into the record. It was allowed to be read into the record earlier. It is also in an earlier pleading, which is the information. This portion of that exhibit, I understand, is in the information. And it is largely cumulative of Exhibit 16 and 16.1, which were previously admitted into evidence and published to the media. Finally, we are going to be dealing with a lot of publicity when it comes to media coverage, and I think that's really where the remedy is going to be addressed. I understand there may be a remedy that can be fashioned today to prevent this kind of thing going forward or going on in the future in this hearing, but I think ultimately that's where this will be addressed. Any other questions from me, Your Honor?
Well, not at this time. I will afford you the opportunity, obviously, to respond when the defense comes back. I want to weigh this and taking in consideration, and I find your representations to be accurate as to what occurred. I believe that I noticed it and asked for it to be taken down because I have a live stream on my screen for that very purpose. And the sequence, I believe I made note, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. It's been a long 4 past days, but that's the only addition that I find to the representation. And certainly, Mr. Novak, feel free to correct it if you believe the sequence was any different. I just want to make sure a clear record is being made of what happened in order for whatever happens next to be appropriate and proportional to the actions that occurred.
No, and that's consistent with my memory, and I also reviewed the video, the live stream as well in preparation for this issue today. So that's exactly what I think happened. From my perspective, examining the witness, I did not have a view of what was being published to the public and the media, and so I think the court immediately, as soon as it recognized that, brought that to everyone's attention.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. To the media.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak on behalf of the media. I think our understanding of what happened is consistent with what both the defense and the state have said here. So I don't want to belabor that point. But here's how I understand them. There's 2 exhibits at issue. Those exhibits were used yesterday in part because the juxtaposition of those 2 exhibits might have provided some sort of benefit to the court. The first of those exhibits was asked to be published through all 3 of the court's phases. The court said it will be admitted into evidence, be shown in the courtroom, it will not be shown on the cameras. That happened about 3 hours into the hearing. That all went smoothly and well. That operated exactly as it is intended to. That requires the participation of everyone, the court, the defense, the state, media, camera operator, all to do that well. Later in the day, when in the video I reviewed, this was about 5 hours into the runtime yesterday. The second exhibit that was going to be compared side by side was introduced. That also went through that 3-step process. In that case, the court said that that could be admitted into evidence, shown to the court, and then also shown on the cameras. So it was put on the courtroom cameras. At that point, there was what I think is a useful practice by the camera operator to wait a beat, because sometimes mistakes do happen, right? In that case, though, that was authorized. So the camera then panned to the screen, which is set up specifically for the camera operator to be able to capture that. Examination on that exhibit began. Then, because the examination seemed to call for that juxtaposition, without much warning for anyone involved, the previous exhibit that was intended to be juxtaposed was placed on the screen. From, I think, a observer's view who didn't know where the testimony was going without warning. The camera operator, I think quite astutely, within seconds, recognized this is a different exhibit, and recalling the court's prior order, recognized I should pan off, and did within seconds. I think at the time that was happening, the court also caught that and said, let's not do that. Now, and that was the end of it. I think the 2 seconds is about right. I don't want to minimize that. I understand the point that Mr. Novak is making. We are operating in some ways on high wire. And we are trying to place as many nets as we can, and all the parties are working together to try to do that. But in the age in which we live, one of the challenges is that sometimes when something like that is placed on a live stream, someone can screenshot it, and like Mr. Novak said, if they want to put that for sale on the internet, then they can. That's why working together to ensure that even small mistakes like that don't happen is critical. And the media has the media coalition that are given the opportunity and the benefit of being able to be here to run cameras and to take photographs have complete buy-in on that point. There are, of course, people out there watching a live stream that are not part of our coalition that we can't control, and that's why it's so important that we get these pieces right. I do want, without going too far into the evidence, to note not only that several lines of this exhibit are available publicly in the information, but that the full text, every word of that exhibit is contained in a search warrant, in this case, that was initially filed on September 17th. This is in the 4th District, but in a different court. Was held for 6 months, as search warrants often are, but then on March 17th, March 16th, March 17th, was released in full. On page 7 of that search warrant is the full text of this exhibit. I don't want to suggest that anybody gets the right to say, well, I think it's public. The court has said don't show it in the screen, but since I think it is, we'll just come back later on and tell the court it's not a big deal because it's already public. That's not how it works. If we say we think it's in the public, the court says, I understand that, but I'm going to make an order. That order should be adhered to. But I do, for the purposes of prejudice, for potential remedy, for the court's concern and the court's sleepless nights, I do want the court to know that as well. And members of our coalition have pointed out to me as we've talked about this, while we take this very seriously, it is true in this case that the full text of that, not the image,
Welcome
of the
in,
exhibit
Stacy.
itself, but the full text is already in the public sphere, has been reported on, and is out there. I only want to reinforce, to close, the recognition that the media, our coalition, I, as an attorney for that coalition, have an obligation to make sure that mistakes don't get made. And in this case, even though I believe that the camera operator didn't act in violation of the court's decorum order, didn't do something that was forbidden by that there was an order that said, don't publish this exhibit. And
Make sure you
because
like
it
and share
flashed
the
on
stream,
screen
guys.
when the camera operator was filming that screen, that did happen. The media is fully bought in. I, as one of the attorneys and the other attorneys for the media coalition, are fully bought in on a goal to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen. Of course, I understand Mr. Novak and the defense's need to make a record and make an objection, and I also recognize and appreciate and understand the court's role in trying to make sure it imposes whatever sort of direction, caution, sanction, response that it believes is needed to make sure that its orders are recognized and adhered to, and I want the court to know that we will understand that and will comply with whatever it is that the court orders.
Thank you. Anything further before we break? Mr. Novak?
We don't need a break.
Okay. Well,
The court wants a break.
I want to review this. I'm sure there is a stream out there. I want to look at it again in order to appreciate the full effect and exposure. I remember it, but given the nature of this and trying to weigh the constitutional rights of all parties, I want to be thorough and look at it exactly. So as we move forward, as I evaluate what's being requested by the parties, that I am at the level of knowledge, and because for what it is, it was on screen. I want to look at it, how long, what exactly was on screen,
Hope you've had a good week, Stacy.
and in order to be at the point of saying, okay, I fully understand. I mean, I was here, I saw it, I noticed it on the screen, but again, I want to take that extra 2 minutes to review that.
See, I'm curious, like, what like did they show, right? I guess I maybe didn't see it yesterday, but what they show that is so problematic, right?
Not suggesting that we rush through this at all. I just wanted the court to understand that our request for the remedy and the sanction, we are prepared to share that with the court, but we can certainly wait until the court has had an opportunity to review whatever the court thinks it needs to review. The permanence of this violation of the court order is a different issue from how long it took to correct the violation. It's a permanent consequence. In other words, that image is out there forever and ever in violation of the court's order, no matter what actions the court, the state, and the media took to remedy it, because that's the technological world we live in. So that's my response, if I may, to the arguments. But we can hold our suggestion until the court's ready for it.
All right, if the parties feel it'd be helpful to confer while the court is reviewing it, you may, just so that if you choose to, I encourage it. If you don't, I respect that. A court's going to take about 5 minutes. Again, I just want to review it to be brought up to full speed and just to have it freshly in my mind.
I'm going to make one more point, if I may, and that is, this is not the first time that this has happened. We had earlier proceedings in this case where the cameras depicted images inside the courtroom that the court had prohibited, and the court imposed certain consequences on the media as a result of that. And so that's just something to keep in mind, in my opinion, if I may. Thank you.
All right, before the court takes a 5-minute recess and to review this, does any party need the benefit of the record based off the dialogue between me and Mr. Novak? All right, not seeing any party respond. The court's in recess. We'll come back at 9:45. Court is in a brief recess.
All right, so they're coming back in 5 minutes. All right, so while we're waiting on them, let's go review some of what Lance Twiggs was saying in the court hearing. I'm convinced that Lance allegedly, this is alleged, but I'm convinced that Lance set up Tyler. Because in those videos, like the one video where, you know, like when we're reviewing the staircase footage, it just does not look like Tyler Robinson. I'd like to see what Lance looks like in a t-shirt and pants, the same shit that Tyler was wearing, right? Like, how scrawny is this guy? I guess we've never really looked. I mean, he looks like he's gained a little bit of weight since everything happened, but I mean, the thing about Tyler Robinson turning himself in too is like, he did it peacefully, and from the video that we've seen, it looked like it was peaceful. Maybe he turned himself in because Lance did it allegedly, and, you know, he wanted to turn himself in to vindicate himself, and he just got put as the patsy, allegedly. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry you had to put your cat down, Stacy. God bless you. It's always tough when that happens. I hate that shit. And I'm glad you got him cremated or her cremated, because I got my animals cremated too, and I feel like it helps a little bit. I didn't know you could juggle fire so good, though, Stacy.
First and last is fine.
Okay.
Well, let's
my name
watch
is
a little
Lance
bit of
Twiggs.
what Lance was saying
And
here.
do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Well, yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And would you say when you first met?
And I said it last stream too. I said it that, you know, we haven't heard anything from Lance. Lance is just poof in the air, and it would, like, we would know that this, like, court proceeding is a showcase or a show being put on if they brought Lance into court. And now look, boom, first public appearance from Lance is in court.
Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay. And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate, so I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first, when he first moved in.
Okay. Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on, your microphone? Okay. I'm going to repeat those admonitions just to make sure we got recorded. Okay, so, again, I place you under oath. Just to make a record, I'm going to do it.
If they're saying that it's yes.
Okay, great. All right, okay, sorry about that interruption. All right, so you said when you first met you were roommates?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
I think we started dating 2 or 3 months after he moved in.
Okay. And where did you live at that time?
St. George, in an apartment complex.
And is that apartment the same place you lived?
He just seems like he has, like, no emotion. Yeah, they also found all the DNA on, both their DNA on a towel. But it just seems like he has no emotion. Like, he's just like, I don't know, maybe he's on SSRIs or whatever, but.
When, on September 10th?
Yes.
When you lived there with Tyler, were you in the same room? Did you live in the same room or different rooms?
No, separate rooms.
And at that time, let's say September of 2025, what were you doing with your life? Were you working, school?
I was working. I was doing like bathtub and shower repair and stuff in new construction.
Okay. How about Tyler?
Wow, you got a furry transgender guy doing fucking bath and shower construction in people's homes. so furry and transgender of him?
I think he was both working. I think he was working for an electrician company then, and he was also in a trade school for being a, I don't know, higher like ranking electrician. I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical workday like?
I think he'd leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on like where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during
Make sure you like the stream, Stacy.
school like semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. So yeah.
Okay, let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
Okay, so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when like an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Scott as Scott just to make sure that
I can do that.
All right, I think they're coming back into court, so let's look. Oh, no. Let's continue to go over this. I want to go over some newly released text messages, too.
you mind hit it right in front of your laptop.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Appreciate the gold coin, Stacy. Much love, much love.
Thank you.
10 jewels.
Was he engraving bullets before this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when.
Engraving bullets.
What about he asks you here, remember how I was engraving bullets? Was he engraving bullets before this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but he had said he was planning to go hunting with his family. And he asked me for if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to go hunting with your family, and you're going to engrave "Catch Fascist" and whatever else he engraved on the bullets. You're going to go hunting with your family and take your political anger out on a deer, right? That makes complete sense.
And I just told him where Dremel was and told him to make sure he doesn't set off a bullet on accident in the house. But I didn't really think about it until then.
How long before?
Dude, how do you not think of that? How do you not think of, your boyfriend, whatever the hell he is to you, says, "Where's the Dremel? I want to, engrave some bullets." And you don't think about well, what are you engraving on them? Why are you engraving a bullet for going hunting with your family? None of these are questions popping up in his mind.
September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I don't remember because he'd been talking about the hunting/camping trip for a couple months, but I don't remember when he was specifically asking to engrave the bullets. So
are we talking a year before?
Oh no, not that long. It would have been I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
Okay. Okay. Right. You talked about the note that he left. I want to bring this up, and I should say that these text messages that we've been looking at here are Bates number 54. Okay. The notes have been titled 16.3 with a note, and this is Bates number 58. Do you recognize that on the screen there?
Yeah.
What do you recognize it as?
That was the note under his keyboard that he was referring to in the first text of that chain.
Okay, so where did you find this?
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
And what? I assume you read it.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with it after you read it?
I believe I just put it back down on the desk after I took a picture of it.
Okay. And again, the time you read it was probably around 11 o'clock or so on the 10th.
Yes.
The night of September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And did you ever see that again after you placed it back on his desk?
No, I don't think I did.
And that was a desk in his bedroom?
Yes.
And that's a separate bedroom than your bedroom?
Yeah.
I now want to go to what's been titled 16.2. And do you recognize this series of messages here?
Yeah, that was the server, his friend that I was mentioning.
Okay, and this is your phone again?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you recognize it because of the big crack up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a server. Is this Discord?
Yeah, this is Discord.
And who are members of this server? I don't want names, just generally, who are these people? Members of
This is his friend group. They played D&D together every week.
Okay. And I just want to scroll through this to make sure that you get a chance to take a look at it. Or go to the next page.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's like, why isn't it showing on the screen? That doesn't make sense to me. Let's move forward a little bit.
Is that an accurate recording of that thread?
To my knowledge, yes. What he said was true the night before, and he said it was.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. He started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it, and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
Okay. Did he talk about what he was going to do next?
And then eventually he said that he would talk to his parents or turn himself over.
Okay. And when you left, was that how you left understanding he was going to turn himself in or go to his parents' house?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be at our apartment while any of that was happening, regardless of what went down.
Okay. Okay, before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat, but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images.
Dude, yeah, bullshit, dude. So he's saying, oh, well, I didn't really want to be a part of it. I didn't really know, or I don't do any of this. Okay, well then, you didn't want to be a part of it. You didn't want to know nothing. Well, what is this then? What is this? Hello, roommate and lover. It is Tyler James Robinson. Hello, Tyler James Robinson. As a reminder, my pronouns are she, they. You're never going to believe it, what I did. I was the one who killed Charlie Kirk. What? Like, dude, this is so scripted bullshit. But you're telling me you didn't want to know nothing. And yet, you guys are having intimate, weird conversations like that, allegedly. Both your prints are found on the towel and the gun. Like, what the fuck? We'll go back over the court case in a second.
Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is a press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans. So it definitely, especially the bottom.
Yeah, dude, and I know I sound like I'm crazy, but when I first saw what was going on in this hearing, I thought to myself, what if Tyler Robinson gets off? Because there's so much plausible deniability, right? Gun shells found in other places, but not at the top of the roof where he was allegedly jumping off, right? Both prints on the gun. Now this witness saying, well, not with 100% certainty I can, identify him, but it looks like it could be him. The holes that the defense was poking into the stories yesterday or day before yesterday, and well, all of this, it just seems like there's a lot that's gonna come out when the court hearing proceeds. And I'm very, very, very excited to watch it with you guys because it's just going to be crazy.
Last 2 definitely do look like him. They do look like Tyler Robinson.
And you talked about that with your friends, right? This looks like him.
Yeah, his friends. Yeah, I don't know if I talked. I don't remember if I talked about it with any of my friends. And then since I didn't have my phone after that for a while, and I still am not using social media, I don't know on my friends' end.
Okay. All right, I want to back up a little bit now. We talked about September 10th, but let me get a little bit of
Make sure if you're new to the stream, you like your stream, man. Hit the like button, show some love and support. Hit the subscribe button.
Played some just kind of party games together, like anything that would be multiplayer with a group of friends. There was one game he really liked called Sea of Thieves, where you play as like a pirate, and you can fight against people, but most of it's just like fishing, fighting sharks.
Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally have never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay. How about
That's just so hard to believe, bro. The biggest political assassination since JFK and you haven't heard him talk about Charlie Kirk. This man is asking you for something to engrave bullets, and you're just in your mind like, eh. You're his lover, intimate. He was texting you this, allegedly, all of this stuff, all these text chains we see, and you didn't know about it? He was just spilling out the truth to you, and you didn't know nothing beforehand? I find that very hard to believe, especially when you're living with the person. This person has so much hatred towards Charlie Kirk that he gets up and does what he does, allegedly, and he doesn't once say, oh man, I hate him. He's just such a hateful person. He's like, never once. Okay.
Political issues. So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really.
Get down.
Like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
Get down. Smoke. Get down. Get down. All right, whatever. We're done with this. That was basically what I want. We've seen what we needed to see. But in my opinion, you guys, there's just a lot going on right now in this case that I've been watching from what I've watched, and it's just very fishy. Very fishy the way the defense, it seems like they have a lot of stuff up their sleeve. And very fishy with Lance Twiggs hasn't been seen at all. Nothing's been heard from him. No social media, but like just off the face of the earth. And now for theatrics, he's brought into the court hearing. Zero emotion showing at all. He has longer hair now. He's sitting here saying he's never once heard him speak about Charlie Kirk, but yet he asked for shit to engrave the bullets to go on a hunting trip. Both your prints are on the gun. Both your prints are on the towel. He spills his heart out to you afterwards. I mean, let's see if I can't find... Actually, hold on. Let's see what Valhalla is saying about this.
It stood out immediately to me yesterday during the trial as I am a CDN, and I thought it was weird a 22-year-old would spell it that way. Yeah. Several people share that sentiment. John T, thanks for the super. Matt, put the seat down lady in the house. Exactly. Cassie's in the house.
Nate, I reload my own brass. Hobbyist. Friends that do it for...
Yeah. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Make sure you guys support the channel. Hit the super chat button. I do have a super chat goal of any color super chats. Any color super chats. 10 of them. 10 super chats of any color. Help your boy reach the goal. All right, let me see if I can't find... All right, so with the text messages, right? Like, here's his phone, allegedly. Here's everything on it. So it looks like up here, right? Tyler with a heart. Okay, cool. Why is this overlapping right here? This looks like it's a little bit photoshopped. I mean, doesn't it? Anyways, so apparently this is Lance's phone. 7 p.m. That still work for you? Yep. I love you, he says. I love you too. Hope work's going well. Wednesday, 4:33. I love you so much, moi moi. I love you more. Moi moi, whatever the fuck, stupid shit. Drop what you are doing. Look under my keyboard. What? So this is how it just seems weird to me, right? So they go from texting, I love you, hope work's going good. So these are separate days, right? So this is Monday. Where's Tuesday? If they're a couple, I'm pretty sure that they would talk more, right? Like, where's Tuesday's messages? You didn't talk anymore while Tyler was at work on Monday. You guys just text once a day. I'm sorry, but I doubt that, okay? So he says, drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What? You're joking, right? Fuck, I tried to delete that. So it's like right off bat weird. Oh, you know, you're joking, right? What do you mean you're joking? Maybe he looked at the messages, then messaged him back. I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Dude, the biggest political assassination since JFK, and you think you're gonna keep it a secret? You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. Sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. So, tell me how you have a drop point. If we're to go by what we're shown, Tyler takes a shot, jumps off the roof with the rifle in hand, is what the police are saying, and he leaves. Why is there a drop point? You ran away. You have the gun allegedly. Why is there a drop point? Why'd you drop the gun somewhere? Okay? To me, that doesn't make sense. If he jumped off the roof, what should have been done is he ran into the woods, undid the gun, put it in a bag, changed up his clothes, found his vehicle, and left. Tell me how there's a drop point. Why is there a drop point? That's never made sense to me. For what? You gonna come back? Like, to me, it's just like, if he really planned this out, or, you know, this was going a certain way he wanted to go, why is there a drop point? Why are you going and dropping off the gun somewhere just to come back and get it? Why not just kill three birds with one stone, and leave with the gun? You already escaped, quote unquote. I don't want to chance it while they're parked there. If they had found it, I imagine there would be more commotion. Again, I'm so sorry for roping you into all this. You shouldn't have to worry about this. Does anyone else know? Not to my knowledge. It's going to be real fucking annoying if I can't get this thing till like 3. They have to drive back and still go into work. Then have to drive back. So he was planning on still going into work, allegedly. You're sure they aren't waiting to see if anyone comes to collect the gun? I've gotten close enough that they would have jumped me if they were waiting, and they wouldn't probably be more concerned of pulling the prints off. Shh. So, another thing that I find weird with this text. So, he got close enough to see. Close enough that if the cops were there, they would have picked him up right there. How? Why didn't you just grab the gun then? None of this makes sense to me at all, to be honest. You guys are going to have to let me know down in the comments. Needless to say, I'm going to be late coming home, my B. Just stay safe, Lance says. I will. I'm more worried that what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. But so far, he's scarier than any Fed, not gonna lie. I think that's what he said. This is really, really blurred. Guess I'm not sitting in my car, or guess I'm just sitting in my car watching reels for another hour, hoping this guy fucks off. I don't know what this says. Are you okay still? Yes, checking again so no one will know. So I don't know. To me, these text messages and all this other stuff just does not seem logical. It just doesn't. You know? Like, he gets so close to the drop zone that if the cops were there, they could get him. But he didn't grab the gun. Oh, he's sitting in his car watching reels, waiting for people to leave. It's just wild to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just none of it makes sense to me at all. You know, like here's the weapon apparently.
All right, is this a better view of the towel?
Yes, it is.
If we can go to exhibit 10.1.
Fucking flies, bro.
Will you describe
You
what
can
we're
see a
looking
towel
at in
there.
exhibit 10.1?
Yes, this is a mid-range shot of, again, the towel that was used, or of the towel and within the bushes.
All right. When this was found and you arrived on scene, what happened with that weapon?
We moved it from the bushes, or say FBI Special Agent Kamak moved it from the bushes. We then placed it on a cardboard box, took pictures of it, and then we removed the towel, packaged the towel separately, took additional pictures of the gun, and then rendered it safe on scene.
Okay, I'll ask you about that more in a minute, but let's go to number 10.2. Will you describe what we see here?
Yeah, so what you see here now is the dark colored towel and the rifle that is in the towel, and it is in a cardboard box.
Why is the towel still around the gun?
We wanted to document as to how it was found.
All right, let's go to 10.3.
One thing that just seems convenient is, I don't know if they make evidence boxes like this. I guess I'm not privy to that information. But why is the box that it's in look exactly like the box it was bought in? Right? And not only that, but they want us to believe with the video of Tyler Robinson jumping off the roof. Hold on. So they want us to believe with this right here, where he's over here jumping off this roof with the towel he has in his hand, it is flopping, right? Like, we go look at the picture that we just seen with the gun in the box with the towel. If that's the towel he's carrying right here, why is it flopping around? He comes, jumps off. Watch when he's jumping off right here. Lays it down, grabs it. I mean, as soon as he hits the ground with the towel, it flops. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me move my webcam here. But let's watch that here. How does this make sense? Right? He's running up to the roof. Look at him when he picks it up right here. Look at this still shot right here. What is that? That's not the gun. You don't see any elongated parts of whatever quote-unquote weapon could be in there. You don't see anything. It is literally this long. No way he got the barrel off and is holding it with the barrel and the stock, whatever the fuck. Why does it look like this, right? He gets over there, look at it's open, don't see nothing. Look how short it is. Look how floppy it is. He comes over to jump down, sets it down, still floppy, the towel's still floppy. Picks it up. That looked like he picked up a little something that could have been hard, I guess, but it's still not long enough. Jumps to the ground, and as soon as it hits the ground, look at it flop. Look at it. There was zero stiffness to that towel right here. Right here, watch. I mean, look at it. It's curved. What are we going to say here? You know? He takes it, he runs off. I'm just saying, guys, it doesn't make sense to me. Quite honestly. We go back to the towel and the gun.
Will you describe what we see here?
If this is what he was carrying, I don't get how that correlates to the video we just watched of him jumping off the roof. Where?
Yeah, so what you see here now is the dark colored towel and the rifle that is in the towel, and it is in a cardboard box.
And first of all, if he was doing this mission, why would he carry the gun in a towel? You don't have a rifle bag, you don't have a backpack, you don't have something else that doesn't look more conspicuous, or, you know, looks a little bit more incognito. You're grabbing a fucking towel that you and your boyfriend's jizz is on.
Why is the towel still around the gun?
We wanted to document as to how it was found.
All right, let's go to 10.3. Is this the rifle?
Yes.
And why was it left in the bush there? Like, that's the main question to me is, why was the... That's because he dismantled it. But, Stacy, like, from the time the shot went off to when he was running across the roof and jumped off, there was no time to dismantle it. Unless, did he have it hanging together by one screw? Like, is that what this is? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, I just don't think he had enough time. Let alone, like, he already got far away, right? They're searching the campus. There's a guy who's been taken into custody. So, in the police officer that was on the stand's own words, he said that kind of made everybody slow down for a second. So if he got away with this weapon and he got this far away, why is he hiding it? Like I said, why doesn't he just take it, like, instead of going in the bushes and dropping it off, why doesn't he dismantle it there and hide it somewhere else and continue to leave? It seems too convenient to have this laying there with DNA on it and prints and you know what I mean? Like, come on.
It is.
I agree, Stacy.
Described making the rifle safe. Will you describe what that is?
Yeah, so what that is that we ensure that there isn't anything in the chamber and that there's no other cartridges in the gun that would have it go off. So to do that, because it is a bolt action gun, we would have to manipulate the bolt or the lever back, and then from there see if anything was in the chamber, and then I'll say carefully remove anything that was in the chamber and below it.
All right. What is the difference between a bolt action and an auto ejecting gun?
Yep. A bolt action is one where the user actually...
Okay, we know that. So that's my thing, is how it doesn't make sense on how he could go jump off the roof, go to where he went, drop the rifle, then hang around for another few hours to try and retrieve the rifle. He got close to the rifle, but he didn't grab it. Like, none of it makes sense. None of it. And I'll just go over again the clip of Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk's parents arriving separately. Erica Kirk doesn't even look at Charlie's parents, and Charlie's parents don't even look at Erica. I mean, there's some sort of animosity here going on between them. And as I said earlier in the beginning of the stream, look at how they're looking when they pass by. They are making an effort not to look over at Erica. There's some sort of tension here. There's no, like, them getting out of the car and hugging, how you doing, are you all right? Like, none of that. Like, that's to me like, okay. Yeah. Let's get back into the trial, man.
And that would be a remedy that perhaps could be used in the future. I think that would be a satisfactory remedy to avoid this type of thing in the future. As to the other remedies requested, we have one witness. The final witness, well, the defense has one witness. That witness is a ATF DNA forensic biologist. And I assume that the exhibits that will be admitted through her will be of that nature. We've already, in fact, admitted the report that she is going to be testifying to. The reports, I should say, that's exhibits 30 and I believe 34. And so I don't think we have, and those have already been published, I don't think we have the same risks or, I'll just say risks with her testimony as we do with some of this other evidence that has already been admitted.
Thank you. To the media.
In a proceeding like this, the parties in the court and the media are working together to learn and to refine their processes. I hear Mr. Novak's remarks about challenges that we've run into in the past. I recall, it hasn't been that long ago, a time when the camera was placed in a location in the courtroom that was causing challenges. The court moved it. When there were challenges with aspects of the court's ruling, the court reiterated those, and those processes improved. We are getting better at this. Media is on board and recognizes the court's obligation and its significant efforts to balance the interests here. In light of the court's ruling, including its recognition that the media operator in this case beat almost all of us to the punch, right? And saw what was happening on the screen and moved away as quickly as they could. We believe that the procedures that the court currently has in place, even if they don't every moment of every hearing deliver the result that we are intending to deliver, those processes are working. I don't believe that a further adjustment, much less a sanction, much less a revisitation of something that says let's keep every photographer, every camera out of this courtroom for every proceeding. In light of the court's well-reasoned and exhaustive rulings after a long briefing on all of this, the court is currently balancing these interests correctly, and we therefore ask the court to allow the parties to recognize that the time we're dedicating this morning represents a reiteration of the importance of these principles. The media and the parties all recognize that. We'll continue to endeavor at all times to do all that we can to ensure that those are adhered to, and let the parties go forward under the current procedures without further order or sanction by the court.
Thank you. Any further arguments before the court issues its ruling?
No, but thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And just updating my notes as I'm intending to issue this ruling right now. I'm just making sure that I'm capturing all the points made in the argument right now.
So with this judge, I just found out that, okay, this is weird to me, right? And I'm going to look into it more. So this is Judge Tony F. Graff Jr., right? He was appointed to be the judge in the fourth district court in May 2025 by Governor Spencer Cox, right? I look into his father, Paul David Graff. Passed away from cancer. January 21st, 2004. Following his third and final courageous battle with cancer, Mr. Graff was born in Yonkers. One second. Pretty crazy that they have a time. They have ties to Arizona.
All right. I'm almost done. I appreciate the party's patience. This issue rises to the level that necessitates great care. And as my practice, I don't like to rush or make snap decisions. And I want to give this the full analysis that it's due. So thank you again for your patience. All right. Court will issue its ruling on the request by defense.
Yeah, so like I'm looking it up. I don't want to say anything that's not true, but it's looking like he was appointed to be judge in May of 2025. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August, November. What's the calendar here? I'm an idiot. Let me see. So he was appointed to be a judge 4 months before Charlie's assassination. Judge Tony F. Graff Jr. was appointed in the 4th District Court in May 2025 by Governor Spencer Cox. Judge Graff serves, in Wichita, Utah. Special Assistant United States Attorney in Washington, D.C. And it says his father died in, if this is right, died in Arizona. I'm getting the information now. Hold on.
The constitutional rights of Mr. Robinson and Ms. Kirk are paramount, although transparency in judicial proceedings
I hate how it's, oh, Mr. Robinson, Miss Kirk. What about his family who's sitting in the front row?
is a fundamental interest. It must be balanced against the constitutional rights of all parties. Having considered the arguments presented by counsel and having reviewed the events that occurred yesterday, the court finds that its order prohibiting the publication or broadcast of Exhibit 16 by the media camera was violated. The court agrees with the defense that this constituted a violation of the court's order. Compliance with court orders is essential in all proceedings and is of particular importance given the nature of these proceedings. With respect to defense's request as a sanction that the court reverse its ruling on defense motion 305, motion to exclude cameras, the request is respectfully denied. The analysis underlying the court's prior ruling remains unchanged, and the court adheres to its reasoning and conclusions. With respects to the defense's alternative request as a sanction to prohibit all cameras and electronic equipment from today's proceedings, thereby preventing the electronic capture of the proceedings for those inside and outside of the courtroom, the request is granted in part and denied in part. Effective immediately, members of the media shall no longer capture or broadcast any exhibits displayed by the parties during today's proceedings. The court finds this sanction to be proportional and appropriate in light of the violation of the court's prior order. The court reserves this sanction as it relates to September 1st. It is not before the court. There has not been a request for electronic media coverage, and the court won't issue a pre-ruling.
S'more, shut the fuck up, bro.
When that request has been filed and all the deadlines which the court has imposed in regards to the MC filing are in place, if motions are filed, the court will entertain motions in brief argument ahead of the September 1st hearing and address it at that time. This is the ruling of the court. Thank you. Turning to the defense, if you wish, you may call your next witness.
Judge, we would like the benefit of the record before we start taking evidence today.
Yes, Mr. Grenander, and I'll allow all parties, given the ruling of the court, briefly.
And I'll be brief, Judge. And this is in relation to the continued taking of evidence today. And I'll start my statement, Judge, with something that was very insightful that you said the other day. You mentioned, and I quote, "Sometimes you need to take time to save time," close quote. And so that's my purpose for standing up here this morning. We have spent the better part of a day, a little over 5 hours, I believe, hearing from witnesses that the defense has called at this preliminary hearing. And no doubt the defense is entitled to call witnesses at a preliminary hearing as allowed by the rules. But I think it's important that the court remind all parties about the purpose of this hearing. This is a probable cause hearing, as Your Honor has repeatedly stated. The defense has invoked the term reliability many times. And the court, frankly, has found the evidence that's been admitted, the testimony. As a gatekeeper, the court has found it reliable. It's been presented. The exhibits have been found reliable. So any questions of additional reliability are really questions of credibility of the witness and weighing of the evidence. And that is not really what this court engages in at the probable cause standard. And so this is all couched in the context of a likely forthcoming standing objection that the state may lodge if the testimony is long and drawn out and exceeds the scope of the preliminary hearing, gets into areas of a 702 hearing, possibly even trial. We will lodge this objection, but I wanted to just simply state the authority, Judge, behind our objection if we do make that. As your court is well aware, the magistrate at this stage of the case must view the evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution. And that's cited to in a number of Utah cases, to include State v. Schmidt. Schmidt continues,
This means that when reasonable inferences from the evidence cut both for and against the state's case, the magistrate lacks the discretion to choose between them and must leave such a determination to the fact finder at trial. A few other cases I would like to refer the court to. State v. Pledger, which is a Utah 1995 Supreme Court case. Speaking of this standard, the court says, the standard bars the magistrate from requiring the prosecution to address or even eliminate alternative inferences that could be drawn from the evidence in favor of the defense. So even assuming the defense scores points today in calling these witnesses, again, the court cannot really weigh those in favor of the defense. State v. Hester, which is a Utah Court of Appeals case 2000, where there is conflicting evidence, quote, the magistrate may not sift or weigh the evidence, but must leave those tasks.
You know what's crazy? Is I am looking up this judge and his family. I'm on obituaries, I'm on Wikipedias, I'm on all this other stuff. I ask Grok, I say, can you find any ties of these people in Arizona? You want to know what the last sentence says of its response? Which makes me even more like concerned and think more about it. It says, if you're referring to a specific claim, rumor, or social media post suggesting Arizona connections, feel free to share more details so I can investigate further. Why would you think I'm talking about a rumor? Are there people talking about maybe that this guy's connected to someone in Arizona and possibly could be connected allegedly to Erica Kirk or whoever else is involved in this? That's pretty odd to me. Pretty odd.
Tasks to the fact finder at trial. Of course, we're not at trial yet. State v. Virgin, a Utah 2006 Supreme Court case, indicates that a magistrate may only disregard evidence at a preliminary hearing if it is, quote, so contradictory, inconsistent, or unbelievable that it is unreasonable to base belief of an element of the prosecution's claim on that evidence. There's a State v. Drozbecki case, which is a Utah Court of Appeals case 2010. Magistrates may only disregard or discredit evidence that is wholly lacking and incapable of creating a reasonable inference regarding a portion of the prosecution's claim. But
the fact that he was put on there, he was appointed to be the judge 4 months before this happened, right? 4 months before Charlie got shot. That's weird to me.
Leave all the weighing of credible but conflicting evidence to the trier of fact. And finally, State v. Lopez, a Utah 2020 Supreme Court case. Speaking of this probable cause standard at a preliminary hearing, the court said, under this low bar, it may be difficult for the defense to overcome.
So I said to Grok, I said, why would you say that last sentence? Grok said, I said that because this kind of question often comes from a specific online claim or theory. In a high-profile case like the Charlie Kirk murder preliminary hearing, there are frequent rumors circulating on social media, X, Instagram, YouTube comments, etc., that the judge, his family background, or has alleged conflicts of interest. Some people ask about Arizona or other states because of unverified posts suggesting hidden connections, family ties, past cases, or conspiracies. I offered to dig into a specific claim so I could check it directly rather than guessing. No shade, just an efficient way to get better if I do have sources, if you do have a source in mind. So, in my opinion, Grok is trying to get me to say where my source is so it can go and let people know that it needs to be taken off the internet. That's what I get off that.
A prima facie showing of probable cause. Even an alleged victim's recantations may sometimes be insufficient, given that the magistrate must view all evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution and draw all reasonable inferences in favor of the prosecution, close quote. Judge, Your Honor has heard 4 days of testimony now.
You guys go to the link in my Ko-Fi. Feel free to donate. Help me reach my Super Chat goal. Your boy needs funds, man. Your boy's down and out. People are shoving me in the dirt lately.
The evidence is overwhelming. It's devastating. And the question needs to be asked, the purpose of continuing with testimony if it's long and drawn out. Of course, the defense has the right to call witnesses, but it needs to be within the context of this preliminary hearing. So again, we may be lodging a standing objection of relevance and exceeding the scope.
And see, I tricked Grok, right? So this is what people are saying about this judge. Clip this. So this is what people are saying about this judge, right? And I already guessed it. And because one of the officers that they had on the stand sounded like he had like a Mormon or a Amish accent the way he was talking. He was trying to hide it. And so this is exactly what I was thinking. Grok says, most common rumors and criticisms. 1. Corrupt or biased judge. Many accuse him of being soft on the defense or overly protective of prosecutors. Complaints that he's restricting full public release of evidence, videos, exhibits, or to hide something or fuel conspiracy theories. Some say he's coddling the defense and turning the hearing into a show. Mormon Mafia, LDS connection. Claims that Governor Spencer Cox, LDS, appointed him quickly, and that there's a, quote, Mormon network protecting certain interests in Utah. Some ties to this have been Turning Point USA, or some ties to this to Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's connection in the Arizona, Utah conservative circles. I was already thinking that, because do you guys know about the bricks and minifigs Lego scandal, where that YouTuber went to Utah and the cops were like, we do things differently around here, like trying to intimidate him. They redacted certain body cam footage, they lied, and there's a big investigation going on right now. Because when he went to Utah, the cops were like, we do things different around here. How you enjoying Utah, like trying to intimidate him. Family background rumors, speculation about his father and possible hidden ties, but nothing concrete or widespread. Arizona angle, very minor or limited mentions. Some users loosely connect him to broader conservative Mormon networks that overlap with Arizona. TPUSA has a strong quote, TPUSA has strong Arizona roots, but no verified family ties, residency, or direct Arizona links to Graff himself have gone viral. It's mostly guilt by association speculation. Accused he's violating free speech transparency. Some extreme conspiracies post claims he's compromised. A few defenders say he's actually doing a fair job. I don't know, but you get it. I'm telling you that because there's already been claims that governor is involved with the LDS and the Mormons, and there's this whole mafia going on in Utah, that if you get into the circle or you mess with the circle, something happens to you. A bunch of this stuff, right? So I kind of tricked Grok into telling me, like, yo, what is, what are people saying online about this guy? And, it's kind of what I expected, so it is what it is. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, man, he got appointed 3 or 4 months before, Charlie Kirk got shot. And I don't know, it just seems odd to me that everything seems to be wiped off the internet as well when it comes to his background and his father's background.
Of this hearing. That's my record.
Thank you, Mr. Grunander. Do other parties wish to be heard as it relates to Mr. Grunander's statement? To the defense?
I'm not sure what was being requested by Mr. Grunlander. As I indicated to the court during the testimony of the last witness, we had discussion with the state prior to the start. We had a scheduled date for the court to rule on objections. And the purpose of that hearing was so that we wouldn't have to fly witnesses out from the East Coast if there was going to be a standing objection. Prior to that hearing taking place, the state contacted us after they had participated in interviews of Ms. Oliver and the other experts, and indicated to us, and we indicated to the court, that there was going to be no standing objection to the testimony of these witnesses. So if he's lodging a standing objection now, I think he's waived it, or he should be stopped from asserting it given the circumstances. I didn't hear that he was asserting that, and I intend to keep this next witness focused on the issue that I think is relevant, which is the state presented DNA reports through a non-expert. They selectively read into the record a portion of those reports which left an extremely misleading impression of the significance of that evidence. So I have the author of the report here, and I'm going to hopefully educate the court on what the limitations are of the report, and that's it. I hope to be done with the witness by noon, direct and cross, and that will be the end of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burt. And before I have you call the witness, just want to make sure that the media had well, I'm not sure if the media needs to be heard on Mr. Grunander's response. No, Your Honor. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Burt, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. Call Ms. Oliver.
Ms. Oliver, if you'd like to come forward and be sworn in.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in the case now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, ma'am, you may be seated. And there's a water bottle to your left if you wish. And after you're seated, if you wouldn't mind adjusting that microphone, bringing it close to you to pick up your testimony from today. Mr. Burt, you're a witness.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name, please?
Caitlin Oliver, Oliver.
And Ms. Oliver, could you bring that mic a little bit closer so I want to make sure your voice is projected? Thank you. What do you do for a living?
I work for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives as a DNA section chief.
I'll be right back, guys.
And how long have you held that position?
I've been a section chief since January, and I've worked with the ATF for about 9 years. Prior to that, I was a forensic biologist.
And where were you a forensic biologist before you started to work for the ATF?
Prior to the ATF, I worked for Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office in New Orleans, Louisiana, as a DNA analyst and a DNA quality manager.
Back in September of 2025, what were your duties and responsibilities?
I was a forensic biologist.
And do you recall that around September 11th, you received a request to do some DNA work at the request of the state of Utah?
Yes.
Could we display State's Exhibit 30, which is in evidence? So I have the author of the
What is going on here? Get. Fuck, man, this cat is annoying, dude. Trying to grab my beef stick. What can I do? So what is going on here?
Media, as a
The next sample down, 1.2, where the state read paragraph D, admitted paragraph F. You state in F, based on this calculation, there is evidentiary support for the inclusion of Tyler Robinson, correct? As a possible contributor.
Correct.
Mr. Burt, I just want to interrupt.
Sure.
I was made aware of a question about the media as it reflects this order. So the question was whether audio could be transmitted, and my ruling covered the video display of any exhibits. And so I just want to make sure that's the understanding of all the parties, that the audio of your portion discussing evidence is that you understand that that's going to be captured by the camera and displayed, but not any exhibits displayed. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding of the court's ruling, yes.
And to the state?
Yes.
And to the media?
Yes, Your Honor. There might be concern about
I agree, Stacy. Where's
Well,
Skippy
that's-
today?
that-
Man,
that's
I'm
why I give
lonely.
my notation at the beginning of the morning that the parties are responsible to monitor their monitors. And that's there because they're entitled to view it, but they're responsible to ensure that the monitors, as the camera is picking up the courtroom, it's directed not to focus on the monitors, but inevitable capture may occur, and that's why that instruction is given.
Your Honor, Jeff Knight on behalf of the victim representative. We cannot see the court from where we're sitting, so I don't know if there's a way for us to view the monitor.
I don't understand what you're saying.
It's not being published on this one.
Objections, and to see it, it is the court's discretion.
And again, while he's doing that, that same conclusion where you include the language, go back to that page, please, 5.
I don't think
Use
they
the term,
have.
there is evidentiary support and possible contributor. I want to focus your attention on the words evidentiary support. We've had a prior witness testify that, from the FBI, testify that they use a scale and they characterize the support along the lines of strong. Are you familiar with that type of a scale?
Yes.
Does your agency employ that scale?
We can come to 5 conclusions at our agency, so there can either be exclusion, limited support for exclusion, uninformative, limited support for inclusion, and support for inclusion.
And I take it from what you just said, you don't use these qualifiers strongly. The word strongly include things of that nature.
Yes, we don't use a verbal scale at our laboratory.
Is that a scientific phrase when you talk about instead of saying that there's support for an inclusion, you instead say there is strong support for the conclusion?
So our laboratory doesn't use a verbal scale due to the fact that they add subjective words to the front of this word support. It is our stance that the likelihood ratio statistic, the number stands on its own. So we report the likelihood ratio and either support for inclusion or support for exclusion.
Thank you. Would you go to page 8 of the report and highlight the very top of the first 2 sentences? You included this language in your report, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, you included this language in all 3 of your reports, referring to the conclusions conform with the relevant Department of Justice policy on uniform language.
That's correct.
Right. And why do you include that language in all 3 of your reports?
It's standard language for our reports. Our reports adhere to the DOJ Ultra statement.
Okay. And could you go now to Exhibit Oliver 4 for the witness only? Not admitted yet. Are you familiar with this document, the Department of Justice Uniform Language for Testimony and Reports for Forensic Autosomal DNA Examination using probabilistic genotyping systems?
Yes, I am.
Right. And would you go to page 4 of that document, please? And the court has heard some prior testimony about this
Yeah,
Department
Aubrey
of
woke
Justice
me up early
directive.
today, too.
What is ATF's, what is your understanding of what the qualifications and limitations are that are required by this policy of the Department of Justice? What are you not supposed to be saying in connection with the reports that you wrote in this case?
There's a few things that the Ultra document states. First, it states if you use a verbal scale, which we do not, then you need to use the one dictated in the document. This is in an effort to unify the language coming out of DOJ laboratories. It also says that we cannot state that our evidence is infallible, nor can we state that there is a inconclusive result.
Shall not state that it's infallible or have a 0 error rate, correct?
Correct.
It also states, does it not, that you shall not assert that a likelihood ratio of any magnitude provides an absolute identification or source attribution of an individual to an evidentiary sample.
Correct.
And are your reports in conformity with that? You're not stating or implying that anything you did here is asserting an absolute identification of someone as the source of any of the evidence that you examined, correct?
Correct. With forensic evidence, it's impossible to state with 100% certainty anything. That's why we report a likelihood ratio, to speak to that uncertainty with a statistic.
All right, and would you go to the next page of that document? This policy requires that you not state or use the expressions reasonable degree of scientific certainty, reasonable scientific certainty, or similar assertions of reasonable certainty. You didn't do that in any of your reports, correct?
Correct.
You're not asserting anything with respect to any reasonable degree of scientific certainty.
Correct.
Correct. Now, when you can take that down. When did you first receive the assignment in this case?
I would have to refer to my case record to know the exact date.
Do you have those in front of you?
I do not.
Okay, let me pull up Oliver 3 for the witness only. And go to the third page. Does that third page help refresh your memory on when you may have received this case?
Yes, on September 12th, 2025.
Okay. Is that when you first started doing work on the case, do you think?
Yes, it is.
Now, prior to doing work on the case, did you receive permission from someone to consume any samples in the case?
Yes, I did.
And could you go to page 15 of those case notes, please? Again, for the witness only. Do you recognize this email?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell me what the email is and what information it conveyed to you in connection with your examination?
Yeah, so it's standard procedure at our laboratory that when we receive a case, we request permission to consume from the agent. We request that they reach out to an attorney if one is assigned. In this case, we will not begin any work on the case until we've received that permission to consume. So this email is us receiving permission to consume the samples and move forward with testing.
Now, does your lab have a policy for preserving samples for independent testing by the defense?
Where possible, we will not consume samples where it's possible.
And that policy is a longstanding one, not only in your lab, but pretty much everywhere in forensic DNA analysis, right?
That's correct.
Goes back to 1996, does it not, when the National NRC recommended a policy that samples be split wherever possible at the front end of the analysis to allow for independent examination.
Where possible, yes, that's correct.
Right, and they did that because it was their conclusion, was it not, that a wrongfully accused person's best insurance against a possibility of being falsely incriminated is the opportunity to have the testing repeated. Such an opportunity should be provided whenever feasible.
Correct.
Okay, could you now go back to Exhibit 30, page 8? Were certain DNA samples consumed in your analysis?
Yes, they were.
And for the record, are those listed on page 8 of your report?
Yes, they are.
Which samples were entirely?
No way, bro. No way Pumpkin is out here on Valhalla's channel as a moderator and she ain't coming to say what's up to us, bro. Wow. Bro, that's fucked up. Nah, bro, she's being taken off mod on the channel, bro. Fuck all that. That's crazy, bro. Oh, she's just been, bro, man.
Entirely consumed in your analysis.
See, loyalty
The
runs
exhibits
deep with me, bro.
1.4,
I just can't.
1.6.
I can't do it with
1.9,
some of these people
1.10,
anymore. I'm just gonna end up
1.12,
like
2.1, 3.1, 4.1, and 5.1.
Okay.
whatever. It don't
Then
matter.
are there a number of samples listed above there in the report where you say the DNA extracts will be retained? And then you list 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.13, 7.1, and 8.1.
Correct.
Does that mean that those are all swab samples, correct?
They were swabs, yes.
All right. Does your report mean that you consume the swabs, but you have some liquid extract remaining as to those samples?
Correct.
Now, are all of the samples, let's talk about the samples in Plaintiff's Exhibit 30. Were all of the samples you looked at there mixed samples?
Could I refer to my tables in my report?
Sure. Go to page 2, please.
Again, we go to page 3 and 4.
3 and 4, please.
Fuck all that, bro. Whatever, dude.
With the exception of the known samples from the known individual, that was a single source sample, but otherwise the evidence samples were all mixtures.
And in many cases, they were mixtures of sometimes 4 and 5 people, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you look at mixtures, such as the ones in this case.
He's covering this
you use
too.
terms
He's,
like major and minor contributor, right?
Correct.
Is that language meant to convey that
He's the guy I
anything
just
with respect
watched
to
earlier.
activity
He's
of anybody who
he's
might be assigned to that DNA?
He's a veteran. He does good work on his channel, and he's a pretty popular guy right now when it comes to all this kind of stuff. So, I don't know.
In other words, are you saying
Whatever.
the person you label as a major contributor was engaged in any sort of activity? Is there any connection between the use of that language and activity
None of the testing that I performed could speak to activity or what activity led to the deposition of the DNA.
So nothing in your report, if somebody reads that and says, oh, this one says this person is a major contributor, you're not commenting on anything about the person's activity, correct?
Correct.
And is it true also that there are also several other limitations concerning the language of your report that it's important for courts and people who are reading the report to understand?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are there other limitations, in addition to the one we just reviewed, that it's important to understand about the language you use in your report?
In terms, is there something specific that you're?
Yeah, there is. Could you go to?
Welcome in, Wisconsin,
Baker
brother.
Exhibit
God
30,
bless you, bro. I love
page
you,
1,
man.
For the witness only. Are you familiar with this publication?
Yes.
This is a publication by the National Institute of Standards and Technology called Forensic DNA Interpretation and Human Factors.
Correct.
This is put together as a guidance document for practitioners on what, to simplify, essentially, what to say and what not to say.
I don't know that I would call it a guidance document. NIST is not a regulatory body for DNA testing. It was a report that looked into forensic DNA reporting and specific human factors that could affect our testing. So they may have had recommendations, but as far as them being a regulatory body that's issuing guidelines, I wouldn't state that.
Okay, that's fine. Could you go to 136, please? $136. This is Baker 30. Keep going. There we go, right there. Wait, 135, I'm sorry. And then scroll down to the next page. So they're making recommendations here as to how the report should be worded, correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you whether you agree with some of these limitations, or they call them caveats. They talk about how you describe the number of contributors, and they say the true number of contributors of DNA to an item can never be known. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. They also say, well, let me ask one question before I ask this one, which is, do you use something called a reporting cap in all three of your reports?
Yes, so for our likelihood ratio statistics, we cap the statistic at 1 trillion. The actual number could be a lot higher. It could be quintillion, octillion. We chose 1 trillion because it has meaning, I think, to people that can understand what 1 trillion is. An octillion and a quintillion gets a little high at that point, so we cap at 1 trillion.
And they talk here, do they not, about how you convey the idea of a reporting cap? And they say the LR reporting cap was chosen because of the limitation of biostatistical modeling and independence assumptions of STR loci. Do you agree that that's why the cap is chosen?
I believe we chose our cap for the reason I stated.
Do you disagree with that statement in terms of why the cap is chosen?
I'm not familiar with the paper that's referenced there, so I would
Hey,
have to
welcome in,
familiarize
bro.
myself before
And
I
we started
said I agreed or
about
disagreed.
2 hours ago. I don't know
And
what
then
time is
they
it. I'll
also
probably get off here in another
suggest
hour,
that
but
you
yeah, we're covering
alert
it, man. We're
in
out
your
here
report
grinding, bro. I hope
that
you're having a
profile
good day.
descriptors cannot be applied to activity level issues.
Appreciate you, Stacy.
Do you agree with that?
I don't know. Freedom
Yes, so
just
this
or
is
not
what you were
freedom.
stating about calling a major contributor. It doesn't speak to the activity that
I
led
don't
to the
know.
DNA deposition.
It goes a long way with me
DNA
loyalty. You know,
profiles
it's
may
like
be
crazy.
described
You
as
like
major
come to
or
the
minor.
Discord, come
However,
show
these
channel.
descriptors should not
You're
be
part of the channel
interpreted
for like
in the
5,000
context of a
subscribers, and
decision
you
regarding
still
the
like you
nature
just leave us. That's fucked.
or the mechanisms, actions, or timing that led to the deposition of the DNA.
I want real
You
people
agree
who
with that?
really fuck with
yes.
me.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
And then the other sort of limitation convey that the DNA results cannot be interpreted as the analyst providing an opinion regarding who the source of the DNA is.
But yeah, that's just all me.
Yes, so this is once again, we don't make source attribution statements. We will say there's support for inclusion, and then we back up that with a statistic.
So from a scientific standpoint, you couldn't read the paragraph that sets out the likelihood ratio in your report, whatever the number, and then blast a headline in the media, Mr. Robinson's DNA is found on this item. That's a source attribution, is it not?
Correct, yes.
And that would not be scientifically defensible, would it?
Correct.
Okay. Another limitation they talked
100%,
about
bro.
on
In
likelihood
it to
ratios.
win it.
On the next page, please, 137. Likelihood ratios cannot speak
Today
to
we
the
ain't gonna have no
likelihood
viewers.
of a
Today we ain't gonna have no viewers because I'm streaming like this, right? The algorithm's different. I'm streaming on actual horizontal format. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be the real ones that show up today. Today's video is mainly for clips and going back and editing clips out so I can get more videos to upload, shit like that. So, but we're running it up, bro. We're gonna get that silver plaque, bro. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Like, I got some shit planned
Proposition.
when it comes to promotion and stuff. So, I just gotta let a couple things work out, and you know, we're gonna get there.
only to the probability of the results given a pair of propositions. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Explain that, because that's a little above my pay grade in terms of understanding.
So a likelihood ratio statistic compares the probability of the DNA profile of the evidence given two competing hypotheses or two competing scenarios. Typically, the first is that the person of interest is included, and then the exclusionary hypothesis would be that the person of interest is excluded, so there's a random, unknown, unrelated individual contributing.
And when they're elaborating on that point, they say a likelihood ratio indicates if and to what extent the DNA analysis results support one proposition over another. It is not possible on this basis alone to determine which is the most probable proposition. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next limitation they suggest you convey is that convey that DNA statistics cannot imply uniqueness within a population. Do you agree that that's a legitimate limitation?
Yes.
And explain what that means. Does
I'm
that go
getting a
back
clip
to
real
the
quick, so give me
issue
1
of
second, guys.
Source, you can't assign a source to a DNA sample?
Correct.
Okay. It says you should delineate the meaning of a verbal qualifier, but you didn't use one in this case, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that your testing cannot, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mischaracterize it. Your testing, none of the testing in any of the three reports can answer the question of how and when DNA got deposited. Is that true?
That is true. DNA can't speak to the activity that led to the deposition of the DNA.
And the report says,
Okay, I got it.
with regard to that issue, with the increased sensitivity of DNA techniques and sophisticated software, a DNA profile may be developed even when the contributor of that DNA never touched the item or area that was swabbed. Alternatively, a person's DNA may be present when they were not involved in the crime. Do you agree with that?
Yes, once again, I cannot speak to the activity.
Can you explain how it's possible that a DNA
Appreciate the high five for 100 joules. Much love. I don't even know what they convert to, so I guess I tried looking it up, but it's too confusing. But I appreciate you so much, Stacy. Much love.
profile may be developed even when the contributor
I'm just excited to see how this
of that
trial
DNA
goes, man.
never
I'm
touched
really
the
excited
item or area that was
to see
swabbed.
what comes out.
So it's possible if, say, the pen that you're sitting there using.
Because remember, guys, these guys aren't presenting all the evidence today, right? They're presenting what they think will make justify this trial to continue to go forward, right? So when the trial starts, I'm really interested to see where we're at. Like what else is coming out? Like how'd this happen? How'd that happen? It's gonna be interesting. I can't remember if it's going to be on camera or not. I hope it is.
For the week, you say hand it off to the judge, and the judge then touches it for a period of time, and then I swab it. It doesn't speak to who handled it last. I could test that. I could get both of your profiles. I wouldn't know which person was the last person to handle that item.
All right. And similarly, if you had a lot of DNA on your hand, we shook hands. I then went to pick up an exhibit, a gun. I touched the trigger of it. Your DNA could be on that trigger, right?
It is possible, yes.
Okay, even though you never touched the gun.
Yes.
And that's why, because of those possibilities, you can't make any assessment of how or when DNA got deposited, correct?
Correct.
How long can...
This is all alleged, right? But you guys remember when... Sorry. You guys remember when Lance was telling the story about how Tyler was trying to get whatever it was called to, engrave the bullets? You guys remember that? Because he was going to go hunting. What if he lied and said he like about the part that he was going to engrave the bullets before he went hunting? What if he lied and he never did that and he went hunting? Lance took the gun with Tyler's DNA on it, engraved the bullets himself, then went and did what he did, and is framing Tyler. This is all alleged, figment of my imagination. But I mean, that could be a defense too. Like, what if this other fucking guy did it, Freaking, I mean. Shaking the killer's hand or touching that booty.
DNA persists on the
Probably,
DNA is quite stable over time. It can be broken down due to environmental insults, so things like heat and humidity are known to break down DNA over time. But I couldn't give you an exact number.
Were certain of the samples that you tested in this case degraded samples?
There was degradation present.
No, I don't think they got a confession, bro. I don't think he confessed. He just turned himself in, right? Because he said like he was involved or some shit, or he did it. But we'll watch the video of him turning himself in a minute, because I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like he turned himself in and he didn't seem like he had the demeanor of the fact that he just committed the biggest assassination since JFK.
Of the samples.
And what can cause degradation?
Like I said, there's environmental insults, heat, humidity.
Now, the second report that you wrote had to do with a Dremel item that was taken from Mr. Robinson's home.
Correct.
And did you request certain what are called elimination samples in regard to items that were recovered from his home?
Yes.
Tell the court what an elimination sample is as opposed to a sample that relates to what's called a POI, person of interest.
So an elimination sample is a sample taken from a known individual that it may be assumed that they could have come into contact with it. If I were to, say, swab your vehicle, then I would want your DNA sample as an elimination to eliminate you in order to look for any additional DNA that may be there.
And you say they're assumed contributors because depending upon the location, for instance, somebody's house, you would expect if there were multiple people in that house that perhaps everybody in the house could contribute to a certain DNA result.
It's possible.
So you'd want samples from all those folks to see if they contributed to an item that would be associated with a place where they congregated.
Correct.
And I noticed from your case file that you also requested, but I don't think you received, elimination samples from agents who were involved in this case.
Correct.
Why do you request those samples?
The type of testing we perform is quite sensitive, and so it is a standard practice that we request elimination samples from any of the investigators involved in order to potentially eliminate them in case they could have contaminated the evidence.
Okay. Now, in report number 157, if you could bring that up, please. Oliver 157, which has been admitted. The elimination samples that you requested in connection with item C's from Mr. Robinson's apartment were from Amber Robinson, Matthew Robinson, and Lance Twiggs, correct?
Correct.
And that's because you had information that those people were associated with the house.
Correct.
And when you tested or compared, first of all, you determined their DNA types, right?
Correct.
Then you compared their types to what you found on the evidence.
Correct.
And for a certain number of those samples, you found the presence of DNA of your elimination samples, not
Right,
because
Stacy?
they were suspects, but because they were associated with the premises, right?
There was support for inclusion of some of these individuals, yes.
Okay, and if you could scroll down to page 4, which is the table, I just want to review briefly with you. For instance, item number 1.4, which was a swab from the rifle. You used the elimination sample of Mr. Robinson's father, and you found his DNA on that particular swab, correct?
I would say there was support for inclusion of Matthew Robinson on the sample obtained from the swabs of the bolt of the rifle.
I'm glad you pointed that out. That's, again, consistent with your other testimony. You're talking again about support for inclusion as a possible contributor.
Correct. And there
Again,
would-
not because he's a suspect, but because he's associated with that premise.
Correct, and there would have been a likelihood ratio statistic calculated and to go along with that.
Okay, could you go to the next page? Similarly, with respect to 1.6, you found, again, Matthew Robinson on swab number 1.6, or a profile that indicated he was a possible contributor.
There's support for inclusion of Matthew Robinson.
Okay. And next page, actually go to page 7. You found support for inclusion of Lance Twiggs on swabs of buttons of a Dremel tool, correct?
Correct.
And going back to what we were talking about before, if a person named Lance Twiggs lived in that residence, came into contact with Tyler Robinson, and then touched a button on a Dremel tool, you'd expect Mr. Robinson and Mr. Twiggs's DNA to be on there, right? Or you could.
It's reasonable to assume that anyone living in the household could have contributed to DNA on an object found in that household.
And similarly, you found profiles to suggest support for inclusion of Mr. Twiggs on other areas of the Dremel tool, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the last area I want to ask you about is, you're familiar with...
Yeah, you'll never know if a microphone will even blow up in there just to, assassinate him, allegedly.
Something called
Came into contact with his
NGS.
bubble. What's wrong with you guys?
Yes.
What is NGS?
NGS stands for Next Generation Sequencing. It's a DNA technique that sequences your DNA, so it looks at the individual sequence of your DNA.
And is it true that in your field, that whole area of NGS is something that's at the forefront of everybody's attention? For instance, when you go to seminars and you look at the presentations, there's a lot of talk about NGS, right?
That's correct. Yes, it's a newer technique.
And is it being developed by ATF as a technique that's going to be used or has been used?
Not at this time, no.
And is there plans to do that?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Do you know if other labs have implemented it?
I believe there may be some laboratories in the United States that have it in use, but I wouldn't have direct knowledge of that.
Now, you used a program in this case called STR Mix, correct?
Correct.
And that's sold by a company in New Zealand, that software?
Correct.
Have they developed another program called STR Mix NGS?
I'm not aware of NGS software.
Could you go to 156, Oliver 156? Let me know when you're there. Are you aware that STR, the developers are selling a product called STR Mix NGS?
I was not aware, no.
Okay. Now, sequencing analysis is different than what you did in this case, correct?
Correct.
And how so?
As I said, sequencing is looking at the individual sequence, the individual bases that make up your DNA, as opposed to the testing that I'm performing, which is looking at length variations. So STR testing, which is the testing I perform, looks at areas of the DNA that are known to be highly variable between individuals, and there are areas where the DNA sequence repeats itself over and over again. And depending on who you are as an individual, you may have a different number of repeats present at that location. So the testing we're performing is looking at those length variations.
I agree, bro.
There's
Trust
a
me.
distinction between, say, if you have 10 repeats versus 12 repeats.
But you're not looking within those lengths to see what the sequence of the DNA is.
Correct.
And that's what this new technology is designed to look at.
Correct.
And the reason it's designed to look at that is because it's been found that there are DNA areas that are different in sequence, even though they're the same length. Is that true?
I think the reason for developing NGS software is to add another tool to a forensic biologist tool belt.
Okay. Now, could you go to 154, please, for the witness only? You're familiar with this chart?
Yes.
Okay, this lists all the alleles that you found for all the testing in your 3 analysis, correct?
No, it looks like,
No, you were right, 154. Yeah, this is one, what's the exhibit on this?
This is 154 in the second page.
Okay. You're familiar with this chart, right?
I reviewed the first page of this chart. I have
Sure.
not reviewed the entire
Go to the
thing.
first page. This lists the alleles that you found, correct?
For the known samples, yes.
Okay, now go to the second page. And is it true that for the alleles of interest in this case, one of the alleles of interest is at the D3 location, allele 17?
One of the locations that we look at on the DNA strand is called D3. That's a location, yes.
Right, and in this case, the 17 allele is important because Mr. Robinson had a 17 allele, correct?
Correct.
And some of the evidence had a 17 allele.
Correct.
At that location.
Correct.
So as I understand the way you do this, you look and compare whether those are the same number, basically.
I wouldn't state that's how we do our comparison. So it's not just number matching. We're using STR Mix, the STAR Mix software, in order to perform an analysis of the software that looks at the possibilities for a DNA profile and make comparison to the knowns that way. We aren't using a chart and just doing number matching.
Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting you did, but you're looking at the alleles and measuring the peaks, and it's a fairly sophisticated process, correct?
Correct.
But the bottom line is you're comparing alleles one against another.
Correct.
So if a person is a 1717 and the evidence sample is a 1717, you're looking at that comparison.
Correct.
And again, measuring only length.
Correct.
But it's true, is it not, that researchers have found that that particular allele, the D317 allele, that there are actually 3 different 17s, 17A, 17B, 17C.
Yeah, so there's something known as isoalleles. What that is you may have, in this case, a 17 allele, but the sequence within that 17 allele is different. So 2 people may have a 17, but they may have a different sequence within their 17 allele.
And it's been found that there is a 17A, a 17B, and a 17C, correct?
Objection. Relevance to the probable cause hearing. At this point, I think we've once again.
Sorry,
gone
guys, I'm just
beyond
making a
probable
thumbnail right
cause
now.
And based
So
on
if I'm
Mr.
quiet,
Greenham's
my
argument, I would,
apologies.
invoke his argument here and the case law that he referenced, and I object to this question.
Let me withdraw the question, reframe it, and move beyond it.
All right, so I'll sustain the objection, it will be reframed, and we'll go from there.
It's true, is it not, that at least 1, 2, 3, 5 of the locations of interest in this case.
What's STR stand for?
Researchers have found that the alleles that you were looking at, these isoalleles, have different sequences but the same length.
Objection. Relevance. The witness has testified she does not do sequencing analysis here, and that's what the question is asking, is about sequencing analysis.
Counsel?
The point, though, is that her testing cannot distinguish between these isoalleles, and therefore it goes to the weight of the comparisons.
But if she didn't do that,
Yeah, that's the point, is that she didn't do it, and therefore she's not in a position to draw conclusions.
Mr. McBride?
That
He has
proffer
called
is
her out.
inaccurate, that she's not able to draw conclusions because she did not do NGS or sequencing analysis. She has testified that her lab and the analysis she did here is not sequencing analysis, it's something different. Whether or not she could do sequencing analysis is irrelevant to the analysis that she did do. If Mr. Burt wants to call an expert to say sequencing analysis is better or something like that, that's fine. But this expert does not do sequencing analysis. Therefore, the line of questioning that goes into sequencing analysis is irrelevant to her testimony.
Let me see if I could lay a further foundation.
All right, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
Sure.
And the question may be re-asked if counsel chooses.
When you do your analysis using length only, do you go by the rule that if any STR locus fails to match when comparing the genotypes between two or more samples, then the comparison of profiles between the question and reference sample is usually declared a non-match, regardless of how many other loci match?
No, it's not quite that simple. What you're speaking of is an exclusion, is that correct?
Yeah, right.
So it's possible for DNA evidence we spoke about, it's possible that DNA evidence be degraded. In a case like that, there may be the potential that some of the profile has what we call dropped out.
I feel like the
so it's
defense
not
just called
present.
her out, saying she's not qualified.
In that case, we wouldn't expect necessarily to have a inclusion or exclusion at that location because there's no information present there. So it's not quite as simple as is every allele in this chart present in the evidence. There's more to it than that.
If you had a difference in sequence between a known and a question across many loci, would you exclude the person?
It depends.
Again, objection, Your Honor. We're going back into sequencing, which is not the analysis that was done in this case.
Mr. Burt?
Again, Your Honor, if there could be an exclusion based on this and the testing was not done, I think that is relevant.
But as it relates to this witness and her firsthand knowledge, I'm not seeing that tie-in as it relates to her.
All right, let me move on then.
So I'll sustain the objection.
Now, you said that all the samples you looked at in that one report were mixtures, correct?
Correct.
And the number you get in the likelihood ratio depends on how many contributors you estimate, right? The number is going to vary if you say I think it's a mixture of 2 people.
I'll have to show you guys
I think
the.
it's a mixture of 5 people. and human factors.
Sorry, guys. I was
All the sample.
Sorry, I was making a thumbnail. I have to show you guys what it looks like.
Correct. Yes, I agree.
And does the final likelihood ratio depend on the number of contributors you assume?
No, it does not.
It has no effect whatsoever.
It can have an effect. It's possible. It's possible multiple other factors could contribute to the likelihood ratio.
Is it somehow difficult to figure out how many contributors there are in a sample?
I guess I would say that I use my my training, education, and experience in order to determine the number of contributors present in a profile.
Well, I noticed throughout your report, you use the phrase, for instance, with regard to the 1.2 sample, the profile consistent with at least five contributors, at least one of which is male. And for 1.1, you say the profile is consistent with at least 4 contributors. I assume by the word at least, you're signaling that it could be more.
Correct.
And as the number of people to a mixture increases, the difficulty in sorting out that mixture increases as well, correct?
Correct.
I noticed in your standard operating procedure, there's some guidance on interpreting 3-person mixtures. Familiar with that, right?
Yes.
And it says, and correct me if I'm wrong, approximately 70% of 4-person mixtures present as 2 or 3-person mixtures, based solely on number of alleles present.
It's possible for them to present, yes.
Well, it doesn't say it's possible. It says, for example, approximately, in all cases, assuming a mixture as a result of the combination of 3 people must be done with caution. For example, approximately 70% of 4-person mixtures present as 2 or 3-person mixtures, based solely on number of alleles present.
You said you're referencing my SOP?
Yes,
Is it possible for me to take a look at it?
sure.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point. The point that defense counsel is getting at is made in the last answer, which is that the difficulty of sorting out mixtures increases as the number of contributors increases. That's all understood, but that has nothing to do with the probable cause determination. Even if it's difficult, the inferences and the evidence is weighed in the favor of the state. The court cannot weigh the difficulty in determining this evidence. Is it fair for a trier of fact at a jury? Sure it is. But we're now getting into weight issues that are relevant for a jury, but not for this court.
Well, he's implying this is going to be an extended discussion. I have one question which he wants to look at her manual to make sure it's in there. So, and then I'm done.
All right, I'll allow this question, so I'll
Thank you.
overrule the objection. She may review the material and
So could you bring up
question could be rephrased.
one, exhibit Oliver 148?
Not gonna lie, the judge doesn't seem like he's on the prosecution's but asked too much when it comes to objections. I mean, the defense. I feel like he's kind of letting the defense say what they need to say and kind of he's not being too lenient or not being too I should say hard on the defense or the he's not being biased when it comes to who he's letting talk.
This is your SOP document, correct?
Correct.
And then go to page 83. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And so it's true, is it not, that approximately 70% of 4-person mixtures present as 2 or 3-person mixtures?
It's possible.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. We've been going for a bit, and depending on how much cross, I'm trying to decide if a break is warranted or if, Mr. McBride, you wish your cross is limited. Again, not trying to say which way you should go, I'm just trying to weigh whether we should take a break.
I will probably be, I'll probably be 20 minutes.
All right, let's just keep going, and then at that point,
Awesome. We're gonna keep going.
take a break. Thank you, Mr. McBride.
I don't know why my airdrop's not working. There we go.
Good morning.
So this is what I was gonna do for
Is your
the
lab accredited?
thumbnail on the video I'm gonna
Yes,
drop.
it is.
What does that mean?
I'm trying to
So
get good at
our
my thumbnail
laboratory
game,
goes
you know?
through a voluntary accreditation
Well, I think this
process,
is a nice thumbnail.
where a external third party comes in and audits our laboratory to a set of standards. Specifically, the ATF laboratory is accredited, and specifically the DNA section of the ATF laboratory is accredited to 2 sets of standards. One is an international set of standards called ISO 17025 for testing laboratories. And additionally, a DNA-specific set of standards put forth by the FBI.
Does the accreditation require that the methodologies you use be validated?
Yes,
The methodologies used in this case have been accepted by courts across the country, correct?
correct.
Does the accreditation require that forensic biologists like yourself satisfy certain qualification standards?
Yes, we're required to perform competency testing prior to participating in casework. And additionally, we participate in twice a year proficiency testing.
And do you satisfy the competency and qualification standards required by accreditation?
Yes,
And at the time you did the testing in this case, did you satisfy those standards?
yes.
Moving to your opinions, where on the firearm did you find evidentiary support for the inclusion of Tyler Robinson?
There were several locations. I'd have to refer to my report.
Okay, would you look at your report, and this is, it looks like report number, or exhibit number 30. If we can pull that up, just for the witness.
I'm not sure, Trump Jr. I'm sure it is. I'm sure she's shown with everybody. She has been shown with everybody.
Thank you, Kimberly. We had it for a minute here.
And the swabs of the forend of the rifle. Of the rifle,
Where there was support for, evidentiary support for inclusion of Tyler Robinson.
the swabs of the stock and grips of rifle, the swabs of the butt plate of rifle, swabs of the trigger and trigger guard of rifle with possible ridge detail / smudging, the swabs of the bolt of the rifle with possible ridge detail / smudging, and the swabs of the forend of the rifle.
We go to page 3.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. With that video of Charlie Kirk's parents coming out and Erica coming out, I mean, it's pretty weird that they don't like look at each other at all, and it seems like there's a big effort to like ignore each other, and then like you know, you'd think that as soon as you get off the car there would be like hugging, like how you doing? Oh my goodness, this is rough. And there's none of that. There's no interaction at all. So I think possibly, you know, I covered before how apparently she was trying to sign all of Charlie's name and likeliness, signatures and everything over to her and all this other stuff so she can collect the money off it instead of for the family. and I heard the parents were allegedly putting in paperwork in the court against it. I mean, I covered it a while ago. I'll pull it back up after this, but it's going to be in the video that I dropped too. But yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
Swabs of the barrel of the rifle with possible ridge detail / smudging. The swabs of possible ridge detail / smudging on the optical accessory.
And page 4.
The swabs of the protected underside of the receiver of the rifle after disassembly. The swabs of one 30-06 cartridge case. The swabs of one 30-06 cartridge. And the swabs of one 30-06 cartridge.
You know, one thing I was thinking about too, like when we were talking about Tyler Robinson running around, why would he drop the gun, or why would there be a drop point? You know, and it's just for more theatrics if you think about it. It's just for more, you know, more theatrics for the case and what happened. I mean, remember when they found the gun, what happened to them talking about finding the clips that had writing on them and the engraving on the bullets, you know? Like, I don't see them talking about that. And when we were reviewing the pictures earlier, I don't think I seen that on the discussion. I mean, weren't the bullets and the clip found with the gun? Like, they found the gun, they found the engraved bullets in the clip. I swear that's how it went. Maybe not, but, you know, I mean, that's why he had a quote-unquote drop point. It's all for show, man.
I want to ask you about a couple of those conclusions. Let's look at page 5, please. And calculation number 3, exhibit 1.3, do you know where that swab was taken from?
I'd have to refer back to page 2.
Can we refer back to page 2, please, Kimberly? Thank you.
1.3 is the swabs of the trigger and trigger guard of the rifle.
All right, going back to page 5. And we've had some talk, some testimony from you and some questions for you about the likelihood ratios. What was your conclusion as to the likelihood ratio that you analyzed in this question in calculation number 3?
For this exhibit, the DNA profile was at least 1 trillion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as the major component and 3 unknown unrelated individuals than if it originated from 4 unrelated individuals.
You say at least 1 trillion times more likely. So it could be a much higher number than 1 trillion. Is that accurate?
It's possible.
But the protocols in your laboratory say you cap that at the number 1 trillion. Is that right?
Correct. We would not report a number higher than 1 trillion.
And it looks like you also did a probability statistic as well in paragraph E. Is that right?
Correct. It's another way of stating the likelihood ratio statistic.
And will you state your findings you made here in paragraph E, and that's on page 6.
The probability of an unrelated individual in the population who has not contributed DNA to the sample yielding this level of support is less than 1 in a trillion.
And same question there. The trillion number, it could be far less than that, but you stop your calculations or the statistics at 1 trillion. Is that right?
Correct.
Let us move to page 7 with regard to statistical analysis calculation number 7.
Yeah, I don't recall if they talked about that, but they should talk about how the gun was lined up, like how it was sighted too.
Now, do you remember what 1.3
And have a recreation of the scene, but I bet you they're not even trying to do that because they don't care.
or 1.13 and 2.1 are?
I'd have to refer back to page 3, I believe.
You could jump to page 3. Thank you, Kimberly.
Page 4, sorry.
Page 4.
The 1.13 is the swabs of the protected underside of the receiver of the rifle after disassembly. and 2.1 is the swabs of one 30-06 cartridge case.
Now, did you do the swabs themselves?
I did not.
And 2.1 is a cartridge case, is that right?
Correct.
And what's the difference between a cartridge case and a cartridge?
The cartridge is unfired, cartridge case has been fired.
Right. Let's jump back to page 7.
Right, Wisconsin?
And what was your conclusion with regard to, well, first of all, why do you group these two together, exhibits 1.13 and 2.1 in your conclusions here?
They were both mixtures of two individuals, and they both yielded a likelihood ratio of the same magnitude, so they can be grouped.
You guys got some dirty minds.
It's not that they were tested together?
Correct.
It's just that the results were of the same magnitude, so they were reported together, is that right?
Correct.
All right, what was your conclusion as it relates to both of these as to the likelihood ratio?
The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson as the major contributor and an unknown unrelated individual than if they originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals.
And did you make a conclusion here as well about the a probability statistic?
Yes, so the probability of an unrelated individual in the population who has not contributed DNA to these samples yielding this level of support, so meaning yielding this likelihood ratio, is less than 1 in a trillion.
Nothing else.
Mr. Burt.
The 1.3 sample is described as swabs of trigger and trigger guard, right?
Correct.
You didn't do the swabs, but am I correct that you have no way of knowing
Yo, I love
which part
Beavis and
was
Butthead,
from
man.
the
I miss watching that show when I
trigger
was
and
younger.
which part was from the trigger guard?
Correct, so they were swabbed together, so I wouldn't be able to say where the DNA came from.
And that's one of the samples that was degraded, correct?
There were signs of degradation present in that sample, yes.
And you said with regard to that sample, that that was a sample consistent with at least 4 contributors, right?
Correct.
And did what you term the major profile have the largest amount of degradation in that sample?
There was, yes.
And you can't tell us anything about when the DNA was deposited on the trigger guard or the trigger, correct?
Correct.
You can't tell us anything about whether, when you say it's at least 4, it could be 5, 6, or 7 people with DNA on that trigger or trigger guard, correct?
Correct, which is why we have the major contributor that is suitable for comparison, and the minor contributor is not suitable for comparison due to that complexity.
And again, major, minor.
Make sure if you guys are new to the stream, you like the stream, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button with notification bell, man. We're on the road to 20K. Most importantly, we're on the road to 100K. Appreciate everybody who's been in here, man. God bless you. I'd take the family over a bunch of viewers no matter what. Sometimes you got to do these streams so we can get, the channel going more, man. We're going to run it up.
It just has to do with the levels
back.
of DNA you were seeing. It has nothing to do with someone being engaged in activity that is major in relation to the minor contributor.
Yes, so the major contributor is the majority of the DNA contributed to that sample.
Okay. And some of these samples, you have major contributors of more than one person, right?
Correct.
So for sample 1.1, swabs of stock, you have 2 major profiles, and there are at least 4 contributors on that sample, right?
Can I refer to my report?
Sure. It's Exhibit 30. Plaintiff's 30. Right?
said Exhibit 1.1?
Yes.
Yes, it was a mixture of 4 individuals. There were 2 major contributors.
Okay. And again, with regard to all these samples, no way of knowing when or how the DNA got on those samples, correct?
Correct.
You referenced another statistic in your report, which is the statistic related to paragraph E, I guess.
Correct.
Is it what's called the random match probability statistic? Or is that something else?
It itself is not a random match probability statistic. It is a way to represent the likelihood ratio similar to a random match probability.
But it's still a likelihood ratio computation, right?
Correct. It's based off the likelihood ratio computation.
And it's still subject to all the limitations we've talked about.
Correct.
Can't attribute it to any person. Can't state it's infallible. Can't state there's a 0 error rate. And you can't state that it is a source connected with any one person, correct?
Right. So part of not being able to state source attribution is the reason we report the likelihood ratio statistic. It speaks to the weight of the evidence. And so yes, we can't do a source attribution, and we report that statistic and address that uncertainty that way.
And address the uncertainty along with the other limitations we talked about.
Correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anything further for this witness?
No.
All right. May this witness be excused.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Anything further from defense?
No, we have no further witnesses.
All right. Returning to prosecution, anything further?
No, Judge, we have no rebuttal evidence to present at this hearing. The state has no rebuttal evidence to present at this hearing. However, before we break, there is the matter that was discussed yesterday with respect to publishing in the courtroom Exhibit 12.1, so that the victim's family can observe that.
Thank you. All right, do the parties wish to be heard as it relates to this briefly, and then the court will issue its ruling. And
Your Honor, I actually just want to make a quick record. We have advised Mr. Robinson of his right to testify at this hearing, and he is choosing to take our advice and not testify.
is that correct, Mr. Robinson? And I note that he's nodding in the affirmative. Thank you, Ms. Visser.
I was just going to say that'd be
In
crazy if
regards
he did
to
take the stand.
The outstanding issue about the publication of State's Exhibit 12.1 to the courtroom only, to persons here. Any further input from any of the parties before the court issues its ruling?
Your Honor, Jeff Nyman on behalf of the victim. My understanding is you ruled yesterday that you were going to play it, that you did grant our request. So I don't know if we...
Thank you.
Yeah, I love Beavis and Butthead for sure, dude.
Judge, I might simply add, given the court's ruling this morning with respect to displaying exhibits, we may want to make a record with the live streaming folks here that it's not going to be published.
Thank you. All right, nothing further from any of the parties? Okay. I'm just updating some notes. All right. The court wishes to readdress yesterday's ruling in light of this morning's sanction as it relates to Exhibit 16. The court separately addressed that incident and imposed a sanction on the record. Having considered all applicable public access, fair trial, privacy, and victims' rights interests, the court adheres to its prior ruling. The court finds that temporarily limiting live stream to audio only while Exhibit 12.1 is displayed is necessary to prevent the inadvertent publication of the exhibit from being transmitted to outside the courtroom, and no broader, and is taking the least restrictive means to accomplish what is being requested. Accordingly, Exhibit 12.1 may be viewed by all persons physically present in the courtroom, including victim representative Ms. Kirk in her capacity as the victim representative. The same in-court viewing rules applies to all
I want to see that bitch on camera when she's looking at these pictures. See what her face looks like, you know?
parties and courtroom attendees. And that is the ruling of the court. Let's go ahead and proceed to that, to the state. So I'll.
I could
the
send myself
camera
200
operator, let me
joules,
know
that's
when
cool.
we're switched to
For
an
free.
audio only. We are? Okay. All right, and as it's switched to audio only, to the state, now my understanding there's no audio on this surveillance, on 12.1, is that correct? All right, so let's go ahead and play that. And I'm going to rule that the, this also applies to the still photographer. It cannot be captured, the screen in any way. I noted video recording, but I intend as well as no still capture of any of the monitors during the publication of 12.1. All right. And to the state, just let me know if you're ready. Let's go ahead and play it now.
My bad, y'all. I'm munching, bro. Sitting here for 3 hours and getting a little stoned makes you hungry, bro. Stacy, I feel bad for you. You got this though, Stacy. All right, bro. I don't know what the hell they're doing right here. Sorry, I was going over something. I mean, what are they doing? Are they gonna say some shit or what? You know? 1 second, guys. Okay, there we go. Are they back? Let's see what's up right here. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Oops. I guess. Let me see something here quick. Let me go. I mean, we even got freaking, you know, Brandon Talmud Tatum showing up to the courthouse today. So he's here. And it's like he's got security. He's rolling in on what looks, I mean, this looks like it's probably a bulletproof car, possibly. He's rolling in with, you know, the Israeli security, you know, coming out, saying what's up, tucking his thing, you know, holding his tie. Oh, it's a little fanny pack. Okay. But why, how, is Brandon Talmud Tatum really like this important? Is he like really does he have to show up with a guy who's just recording him, must be content, you know, and a security guard that looks like he's 5 years away from retirement, you know, which there's no hate on him, bro, but that's a, the security guard should at least be 6 feet tall, right? Don't know. But here he is arriving today.
All right, and that concludes the playing of Stacy Bit 12.1 video. Transmission may resume. Just let me know when that is
Frontlines
live.
powered by TPUSA. So I'm curious if, you know, look at how they had TPUSA has a camera on here. They're probably all like, yep, everybody come to the courtroom. It's, you know, pull up like it's a celebrity,
Does either party
red
need the
carpet.
benefit of the record?
Let's all get our faces out there so we get bigger. That's how I'm taking it. Why the fuck do you have
Your
to
Honor.
record Brandon Tatum showing up to the
So
courthouse?
this preliminary hearing is continued to September 1st at 10 a.m. for an in-person hearing. The court will allocate up to 4 hours total for argument. That's encompassing both parties. Does the defense request that Mr. Robinson be physically present for that hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll make the recording. Thank you. The court appreciates the professionalism, civility, and respect shown by counsel, the parties, and all persons in attendance throughout these proceedings. As there are no further matters before the court, this proceeding is adjourned until September 1st at 10 a.m. Good afternoon to you all.
All right. All right, man. So that's it. No, they're adjourned until September 1st. Tyler Robinson will be in court as well. Surprised they're not recording Erica.
Throughout these proceedings. As there are no matters,
See what Valhalla
no
has to
further
say.
matters before the court, this proceeding is adjourned until September 1st at 10 a.m. Good
That's
afternoon.
it, huh?
They meant it when they said it would be quick.
There you go.
Seems like they could have just done the hearing, the 4-hour hearing they were going to do on September 1st. Seems like they could have just done it today.
Yeah.
They had time for it.
Yeah,
So
yesterday.
did anything come out of today?
No.
Was it scheduled to be a full day today originally?
Well, yesterday they both agreed that it wouldn't go till like 5 p.m. their time. It would be like shorter, but this is a lot shorter. We were expecting like at least another couple hours.
Yeah. That's it. That's the prosecution's case. We saw all their evidence.
I
Not
saw
much.
a post. I saw a post on X where someone compared the security footage from Dairy Queen to everything that we've seen. It's like everything of Tyler Robinson from UV was blurry, but like Dairy Queen has like top notch footage.
Mhm.
Like everyone else on the planet has like decent quality
Mhm.
cameras in front of their homes and in their cars and everything. But UV,
Well, and it's the same thing with Lance Twiggs. There are people saying that the video of Lance coming out yesterday when he was in court is blurry. Like you could use a fucking phone to record yourself and it'd have better quality. It's crazy how these guys, even in court, having someone on, the stand technically through FaceTime, can't even have 1080p.
everything is potatoes.
Even though their
Potato
cameras are
cam.
all brand
Conveniently.
new. They're all brand new, I guess, as of like the last year. So pretty weird. I don't know. What's everybody think about the overall trial and the evidence and the prosecution's case?
Officer Bagley is very interesting. Like you got an epiphany. So you see this pistol holder on the ground and you get an epiphany. Oh no, that couldn't have been, like a handgun. That must have been a rifle. And he zeroes in on the one roof that like if you're just standing there in that space.
I was saying this yesterday, that this guy started at a post far away. Then he had to trample over students, and he went down and checked out the scene and moved people from the grass. Then he goes up, the sections and finds the bullet or the pistol holster. Then he just goes to the exact location all by himself. Like, this is just one cop doing it all. I was saying that yesterday. And I don't like the guy with the accent either, the English investigator. It just seems like it's all fishy to me, bro. I'm really interested to see how this is in trial.
There's so many options. There are so many options. He zeroes in on the Losi Center, and the first time he was speaking, he didn't even mention that there was someone with him that went to the Losi Center building. It wasn't until the defense did their cross that came out, and he's like, "Well, I don't know who that person was." They're just some.
I feel like the defense has a lot more than what they're leading on, because let me tell you this: yesterday or whenever it was when they were questioning those two cops, right? In cross, defense got the one cop that they're talking about right now to admit that there was another police officer with them. I don't know. He just had a badge on. I don't know where he was from, the guy said. Then, with the next guy on cross-examination, the next police officer, the one with the accent, is telling his story. And they're talking about the bullets. They're talking about certain pieces of evidence later on. And he said, not to my knowledge, the other cop didn't know either. Like the two cops that were on the stand were trying to correlate a story, allegedly. And all of a sudden the defense says, well, did you know that there was another officer on scene with the other guy? Hinting that officer said something different, right? Like, I just feel like there's a lot going on and it's so complicated, and I feel like the defense did a great job at checking everything, because I'm not gonna lie, these past few court appearances, I feel like the defense made those police officers look like rookies.
Someone in
Like
plain
they're
clothes and
lying, like poking holes in their story directly.
To the badge, so I let them come with me. In light of everything that's going on, that was okay to you?
Well, at first he said, I don't know, he had a gun. And then she said, well, who was it? And he said, I don't know, he had a badge. It's like, oh, okay. In the middle of an active shooting event, you see it with a guy with a gun, and your first instinct is like, hey, bro, let's head up to the roof.
Yeah, let's head up to the roof.
And
That
then my body
specific room,
camera,
that was.
my body camera foot just accidentally turns off the second I get to the top of the roof.
But not only this, he was with
Hell yeah,
another
Wisconsin.
person,
I hope it
guys.
went good, bro.
And then they ask him, okay, who was the other person? I don't know who that was. He
guy
had a
with the
badge.
gun.
Like, you don't, you don't ask.
What I would like to know, I hope we get to see the body cam footage, because he had been at work for like an hour, 44 minutes. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the body cam footage only 27 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when did you turn it on?
He said he turned it. I don't know if he said when he turned it on. I know he said when it turned off, and that was right before he stepped out onto the roof. It died.
So Nate, what's
But
standard
he was-
procedure? Is it supposed to be started the second they start their shift, or is it just per incident?
Typically, well, it depends on what they're doing, right? If you're a traffic cop, it's going to be, you're going to turn it on before you get out of your car and go do what you're going to do. Same thing if you're, if responding to a scene, you're going to turn it on before you respond to the scene. So technically, did he need it on while he's just like standing there observing things, not talking to people? Maybe not. But I mean, body camera footage, the body cameras are designed to last their entire shift, 12, 14-hour shifts,
Yes.
right? So the idea that his camera died, at most, to what Nissy said, like an hour and 20 minutes
Yeah, I'm
into
gonna
it
get some
at
dabs
most.
here soon too.
Not a thing, right? It's just, unless he just didn't recharge it and like just ignored the fact that it beeps at you and tells you it's going to die, and was like, well. I know in Oregon, right? Because I train SWAT teams and sheriff's departments here. Like, you get fired for that. If you just accidentally didn't turn your body camera on and that goes to court, everything gets thrown out. Like, you're hosed. So, but of course, it's par for the Charlie Kirk case here, where something weird has to happen, right? It can't just be normal.
I want to know who.
Yeah, any
Tyler-
other case, it would be spot on. Nothing was wrong. This didn't happen. I've watched so many cases go through on this on the internet, bro, and over all around the country, and it just seems so convenient that my body camera died before I went on the roof. Like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, add that to the list of crazy, weird, suspicious shit that's going on around.
Robinson was speaking to. He spoke to a TPUSA staff member. Who's that?
If you look on X,
right?
Yeah.
And that, like, we have all of this grainy footage. That person should be able to testify and say, yeah, that was the guy I spoke to. That's the guy that was wearing the red shirt, the gray hat. Why aren't they there? Why aren't we hearing from them?
Blake Neff says he knows who it is, but he's not
He
going to
needs to
tell
tell
you
us.
because they didn't do anything wrong.
And it might be true because look, if we play devil's advocate, right? If Taylor was like scouting the area, he might have approached someone who was setting up for the event from TPUSA, one of the team members, and be like, okay, what time Charlie will be arriving approximately, so he could plan his day out, right? So it could have been innocent, nothing nefarious. I mean, very nefarious from his side, but not from TPUSA's side.
Sure.
But the fact that they use the word meet, this is chocolate theory, okay, guys? Because they could have said he approached someone from the staff members, but he said he met someone. So that gives me a bit of a pause here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to respond to what you were saying, Cassia, it was advertised what time the thing was going to start. Like, they had it on their social media, on Facebook, they had it on Instagram. It's going to be at the UVU courtyard at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So he would have known where and when this event was happening. So you don't need to ask someone specifically from TPUSA what time it's going to start. And I think that's actually pretty arrogant if you know that you're going to be doing what you're going to do, to actually go to a staff member and ask them a question.
I'll be right back, guys.
I want to know who he spoke to.
Well, he obviously, to your point, he obviously knew the schedule because he drove from 3.5 hours away, and he knew how early he had to leave at 4 a.m. So he knew when the event was going to be. He knew when Charlie Kirk was presenting, obviously. So it's not like he showed up and was like, where's this going to be? What time is this thing at? Like, he knew that ahead of time.
Yeah. There was a CNN report that 2 weeks before this event at UVU, someone was seen like hopping over the railing and standing in that area on the Losi Center building. And I think there was a student and a professor who were like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And the person didn't respond. And I want to know if that's going to come up at the trial, and if they were able to look at the cameras and see who that person may have been.
I mean, they could also very, very easily check Tyler's metadata. If he took his phone a week earlier and drove down to UVU, they would know that as well.
You know, guys, what I noticed as well on the spaces, on X Spaces with Blake, when he was answering questions, there was something interesting as well. When they asked him, did you have 2 phones on the day? And he said, defensively, he was, no, I didn't. I don't know if you remember, and there is a clip of it from one of the early shows, Charlie Kirk shows after the September 10th. And he was saying, I called my mom on my other phone. I will quote it. I will find this clip. He said it. And that's why they were asking him on X Spaces, did you have two phones on that day? And he said no, but he explicitly said, I called my mom. I think it was called my mom or someone, and on my other phone. So that's interesting to me as well.
Why deny having another phone? Like if you
I don't
if
know.
you work at this high professional job, it's actually very common to have a work phone and a personal phone. So like no one would think that's inherently weird.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't weird when they were saying that about Mikey as well. Oh, he had two phones. They were carrying two phones. I'm like, yeah, okay. If you ever worked in corporate job, yes, you have a work phone. It's normal. You have two phones. You have three phones, especially if you're in social media, in marketing. Yeah, you're going to have all these apps and chats and stuff. So yeah, it's normal. I don't know why it would be denied. And that's why it stuck with me. What else stuck with me from that conversation? When he said he stayed in Orem overnight.
He's like, I don't know where I was. I got off the plane and I don't know where I was.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he stayed in Orem overnight, and then he said he was at the hotel, and they asked him if he left the hotel. And he was like,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe I would get hungry probably. And we're like, you would know.
Isn't this
Weird stuff.
isn't this though just the pattern with TPUSA is lying about trivial things that don't matter and then getting caught? There's dozens of examples of this, right? Like, for example, the thing about one of your representatives talked to Tyler Robinson. You just omitted that, or Andrew Colvett multiple times with the steel neck surgeon story, which we now know was.
I didn't know that though. Like, I didn't know prior to right now that Tyler Robinson had talked to a TPUSA employee. Like, that is damning. That's crazy. That's one thing where it's like, Tyler's not going to get on the stand. It's never going to happen. But if there's one question I would love to be answered truthfully, like, and know what happened, it's what was the conversation? What was the demeanor? Like, what was said? How did it happen?
Completely made up. That never happened. Like, why did you lie about that? Like, we could go down the line. Charlie's text messages. You all said, right? This never happened. Candace Owens puts them on the screen and goes, here they are. And then you go, well, yeah, actually this did happen. But you keep lying about all these trivial things that don't matter over and over and over and over again. And we're supposed to not find that suspicious. Like, they're not things they needed to lie about.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't need to
and
lie.
It's like what Candace Owens says too. Like, I wonder. We should go to her channel and see if she said anything. But excuse me, it's like Candace Owens said too. One little lie leads to a bunch of big lies, right? If you're lying about something as small as what Charlie Kirk is texting about, or what's been said, or talking to Tyler Robinson, for fuck's sake, what else are you lying about, right? Like, if you feel like you can't tell me the truth on these text messages, well, what's going to be found elsewhere? If you feel like you can't tell me the truth of talking to Tyler Robinson, or tell me who the person that did is, then what was the conversation about, right? Like, it's so stupid that they just think we're so dumb, right? Like, I just can't believe how dumb they think we are.
About those things. That's why it looks weird.
But lying about those things puts attention on it so that they focus on that instead of the other stuff.
True.
Kind of a good strategy.
Yeah.
I still want Erica to answer for the whole Charles Barkley thing. Erica claims that Charles Barkley coached her when she was 5 years old while he was playing at top levels in the NBA. I need her to answer to that.
I've never heard that.
I did a video on it, and I made a joke about how she lies with her whole chest. And after I said that, they started accusing Candace of lying with her whole chest. I'm like, oh, you guys watch my video.
I've noticed.
Because I was super shaken by the whole event, right? Like, unfortunately, it triggers a lot of PTSD and trauma for me, seeing people thing on the Charlie Kirk show in the white.
And the white, all white.
Her very first one, because I was super shaken by the whole event, right? Like, unfortunately, it triggers a lot of PTSD and trauma for me, seeing people get shot in the face, given my background. But I was super upset by it. And I remember watching it and actually being very emotional watching it. And my wife was like, nah, something's wrong with her. That's fucking fake. And I was
Your
like,
wife's a smart woman.
Yeah, but I was like, wait, what? And she was like, oh yeah, there's something fucking weird about her. And I was like, wow, you guys are looking back on it. You know, that was before I was, you know, on the train we're on now. But looking back on it, I'm like, wow, you guys picked that up way faster than.
Right? Like when everything first happened, dude, like first of all, Charlie's death really, like when I seen it happen, I was like, oh my God, right? But it was like too, when Erica first came out with her first little speech, I was also emotional. But then it was like 3 weeks later, or not 3 weeks later, like 3 days later, a week later, where I'm like, okay, yeah, something's up, you know?
Than some of us guys did.
I will continue to belabor the point. Who wears all white to memorialize anybody? That's disrespectful. That you never like that. As soon as I saw her wearing all white, I was like, oh, it's one of those things. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she
I
did it
did.
again.
Somebody
Well,
just
you know,
said-
her stylist.
Somebody just said
the-
Nate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say,
'Cause
somebody in
it's
the chat just said, you know, Nate actually defended Erica for a long time. I did for like 2 months. And then eventually, but like she wore me down, right? Where
Mhm.
eventually I just threw up my hands and I'm like, no, this is fucking weird. You know what I mean? And
So-
I was a supporter at first. And she
So
just
Nate-
she just grinded me down with the bizarreness and the fake
Candace Owens hasn't uploaded for 13 days. We should watch her last upload before I get off. But that'd be crazy if she showed up to the trials.
tears and the fireworks. And it was just like, oh, after like a month, I was like, okay, I'm out. No, I'm out.
What was, Nate, what did she do? What was the turning point?
I think so. The memorial was like the first one where I was like, whoa, like the walking out to fireworks and the theatrics, and I was like, and selling merch and having the tent set up to do the photo booths with people. That's when I was like, the step back. And then the next couple interviews, just the over dramatic, like Fox News interviews, and I think it was the one about Candace, the stop, no, don't, and like that.
Yeah. First of all, the reason why those interviews felt off and felt the way they did is because, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, like she just seemed like she was way too into it, you know? Stop, you know, like with her eyes all crazy and the way she's talking, like she's way too performative, and it was just so obvious, you know? It's like, you can't trick us. You can't bullshit a bullshitter, okay? But we're gonna head over to
That's when I was fine.
Candace's channel and check out her last stream in a second here.
Like with the staring and the crazy eyes, that's when I was like, nah, dude, I'm out. Like this is not a normal human being right here. But my point with that is like some of us weren't like I'm not an anti-TPUSA guy, you know. I wasn't like the second it happened, like, yeah, I'm glad, and like Erica is this. Like I was like most people, like this is horrible. And it was TPUSA that ground me down into me realizing, oh, these people are fucking parasites and leeches. Like you showed me that, you know, like TPUSA, Erica Kirk, you showed me that. I didn't just like feel that way beforehand, you know?
And the thing is, the war against Candace now, they blame her for starting this movement against Erica, against TPUSA. She was actually the last one to catch on.
She was.
Onto
Yeah.
that.
She
She
didn't
was
say
literally
anything
the
negative
last
about
one.
Erica for months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
someone just said in
one of the
chat-
first ones.
Yeah, you know, Candace, like, I was thinking the whole time, like, when is Candace going to talk about some of this stuff? And she finally did, but I was like, you know, damn.
All right, you guys, thank you for your patience. Obviously, we're a little early today because we were not supposed to be on air at all today.
So I'm going to get off after this video, but we're going to go over Candace Owens' last stream because I haven't covered her in a while. And I want to see what's up with what she's got to say. Maybe I did watch it, maybe I didn't. It says I didn't, so I want to see it. But yeah, man, this court stuff's going wild.
We don't really even have a show. I think you can you'll start to realize this is more of an open investigation. And we're going to be asking you a lot of questions and asking for your contributions because we are not an expert at everything. Or really, I guess, any of the isolated things that we've been covering on this show. We have really been relying on people at home to help us figure out what happened to Charlie Kirk as we've put together timelines and pieces of information. Anyway, the reason I'm on air is because I spoke with Baron Coleman yesterday evening, and he convinced me that some evidence that he knew that I had positively needed to be shared before we went away for 2 weeks. And he gave me his reasons as to why it was so significant, and I rebutted about the timing. He obviously knew why we wanted to hold on to it, but
See, here's my thing. If you want to change the world, if you want to change what happened after your best friend got unalived, if you want to make a difference, if you want to fight these people head on, then why don't you just release it? What is the point of saying all this, saying you're investigating and you this means everything to you and you will figure it out, but you hold on to evidence? I get some evidence might need to strategically be put out, but why why is it like, oh, wait till next episode, like, no, I have this evidence, we need to figure it out now. What's the deal here? I just will never in my life understand that. And that's where I love Candace, and I want to feel like she's a great podcaster in person, but it's a little suspicious to me that it's constantly like in next episode. Like, what are you talking about? Like, let's figure it out. Let's continue to investigate. After you drop this evidence, let's get more evidence, But hey, man, I don't know. It is what it is, bro. Everything's a show to me. And regular degulars like us, man, I trust it. But once you're at a certain level, I just can't trust it, man. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Be right back. And like I said, man, I love Candace, but it's just the whole, Barron told me I need to release this evidence, and I told him it's not time yet. When is the time? Like, what are you waiting for? The trial's going. Like, what is going on?
Ultimately concluded that Barron Coleman was right. Now is the time to share it and to allow you guys to contribute before we go away. So welcome back to Candace. We have been doing here, the strategy that we have had, information that we have intentionally not released early, that we have sat on, and it's obvious. We are playing chess here. There are a lot of heavy players that are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, and we needed to also just be able to separate who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, right? Just because Brian Harpole tells a lie, just because Frank Turek tells a lie, does not mean that every single person at Turning Point USA is implicated, right? Doesn't mean that any person at Turning Point USA is implicated. I needed to fully assess the character of a lot of individuals that were around Charlie, people who I couldn't believe.
I agree somewhat, Stacy, but it's on certain topics or certain things that you're holding back. It's just like, I don't know. If you're like, to me, like with the person I think Candace is, like, you would think that passion takes over patience, right? So her being so passionate about the investigation with certain evidence should take over her patience, right? Or take over her, for some, yes, you need to have patience with, but I don't know.
Would betray Charlie.
I'm not in the position she is, right?
See who would lie, who would cover up, who would get behind and host commentators who were friends of Charlie Kirk's as they lied through their teeth to the public, tried to dissuade them from looking at certain evidence, telling them this is not possible, this is not true, but most importantly, getting people who were intimately involved on that day to tell their stories over and over and over again. People like Frank Turek, his car ride, which is told differently than it is by Brian Harpole, their memory, very short ride. Both of them telling stories that are not matching. The shows that they are choosing to go on when they share it, the terms that they are using, conspiracy theorists, demonic. We needed to see who these people are. Anyway, like I said, I won't belabor the point, but you get it. Recently, as you guys have seen, we have been, at long last, after debunking many elements of this case with various things that we have presented to the public, exclusively convinced that Tyler Robinson did not murder Charlie Kirk. Was he an accessory to murder? Did he help out that day? Did he bury clothes at Dairy Queen? I certainly believe he did pick up clothes and bury them at Dairy Queen. I do not believe that he was on campus on top of Losey Center firing a shot at Charlie Kirk's neck. I can say that unequivocally. And you saw that we began to reintroduce a theory that John Bray had been working on for a very long time regarding an explosive. He was convinced from the very beginning, John Bray, that Charlie's microphone was rigged.
Bro, I've been saying it since the jump, and everybody called me stupid. Everybody's like, no, you're an idiot. Oh, the bullet was old, so it didn't have that much power. You're stupid. Everybody was calling me stupid. Now look, everyone's coming around to the fact that, oh, it was probably his mic. All the different videos are slowed down, all the different people that are covering it and showing different angles. And I just knew right away that that's what it was, bro. You know, like, I've said consistently almost every stream that I just feel like that the mic theory is the best, you know, the one that makes the most sense.
And that it subsequently shattered. We obviously had those car pics, had been working on that in the background, but what we did not do was release all of the car photos. The purpose of that, obviously, is to see how audacious people will be. Will they lie? Will they lie and pretend that that is just, I don't know, blood drops? No, that's crazy. That's not Charlie's microphone. That's not the Rode microphone. That's something else. It's a pair of sunglasses. And lie they did through their teeth. So we are going to show you additional photos. So I want to say right at the top here, obviously, viewer discretion is very much advised. We are not going to, obviously, we've already seen the other photos. It's going to be very much like that. It's not like you're going to see Charlie's body here, but it will also show you some other details of the car that we can speak to you about and tell you what's missing and why it does not register. Well, none of this registers, obviously, as right in our minds. What happened in this car does not match the stories that we have been told thus far. They're missing a big part. You don't just forget shattered glass, tempered glass from a microphone. How did that happen? Are we going to get a story about a steel chest to go along with the steel neck? Are we to believe that someone did it with their bare hands? Why don't you try doing that? Why don't you try taking a Rode mic and breaking it in your bare hands? That's not possible. Nobody's story told anything about even lifting Charlie's shirt, how that microphone could have broken. And we are now going to put the full pressure on them to do just that. So we're going to take you through a total of 4 additional photos, and then we will give you the close-up. We can now say confidently that there is black, tempered, shattered glass all over the car where Charlie's chest region would have been, according to the story that Frank Turek
I'm putting myself way up on the corner, y'all.
Brian Harpole told. So here we go. Let's go through these slowly, and we will start asking questions. So you again see in this photo the Uber bag with the blood on it in the back seat, which I believe was most likely used to wipe hands afterwards, maybe perhaps getting out of the car. I think it's likely, given where Frank Turek was sitting, that is him. But I do want to also point out this hanger to you. Another piece of information that we have had is that Charlie had his sports coat, his jacket, if you will. You'll remember that he gave an interview, which was quite mysterious in my opinion. He went to Salt Lake City and he gave an interview to Restaurantology, I think was the name of the company, before he drove to Provo for this event. And so he had a jacket that he did not wear. Obviously, he was in a t-shirt that stayed in the car. I can tell you that that jacket was returned to his security and made it back to Erica's apartment with blood still on it. It was not collected into evidence. That is an important piece for me to share with you because the question that it leaves is why? Why was that personal effect, bloodied, returned pretty immediately back to Erica's apartment in Arizona by the security? And again, the reason why I will say that is an important detail is because the story that Frank Turek tells us is he changed in part because he didn't want Erica to see him bloodied. So are we to believe that they did want to hand her a bloody jacket of Charlie's? Like Frank's bloodied clothes would be more disturbing to her. We don't even know why.
Yeah. I don't want her to see me full of blood, but I'm going to give her a jacket that's covered in it.
See? Then Charlie's bloody clothes. That's where I'm guessing that hanger is from. Okay, let's go to the second photo. And like I said, we will get closer on this. We're going to talk about that piece of what looks to me to be cardboard. It could be something else. People in the medical field might recognize it. This might have something to do with Brian's story about, taking out, I don't think he said gauze, but packing the wound. Like I said, we'll get a lot closer. That bag behind.
Bro, that looks like it's burnt, homie. This looks like it's completely burnt. Like, what are we... Like, that looks like a burnt piece of wood or something. That's definitely looks like it's on fire. Was on fire.
Looks to me like some sort of a medical bag. Maybe it's like binocular security bag, something on the go. In the comments, you guys can write to us. And this is, like I said, it's going to be an open episode. We want you to share with us anything that you recognize that you are seeing in that photos, but we could not identify what that brand was in the background. We've looked up different binocular brands and, not saying it's anything nefarious, but we would like to identify what that item is. Like I said, we'll get closer. Next photo that we can show you is, I don't know if you can see that clearly on your screen, but in the middle there is just full, shattered, tempered glass.
Yep, right down here.
So mistaking it, there is no question mark. That is what is in the middle of that car. We will get close on that as well so you can see it. John Bray was telling the truth. And many, many, many people, those who Charlie put on stage and whose careers Charlie built, were lying to you.
Yeah, because, one thing is, like, when he got down to the ground and everything was happening, and they were carrying him, all that glass was probably in his shirt. So if they put him on this, like, head first this way on this, and his shirt was able to, like, flip open a little bit down here, all that glass was probably falling out of his shirt.
They were lying to you. They were calling this a conspiracy. It is not a conspiracy. It is not a conspiracy at all that there is tempered, shattered glass with white bits all over the center of this car and into the back seat. So the stories Frank and Brian
took gunshot residue of this glass right here.
have told to the public, for some reason, don't include this. We were told only his neck was being addressed. They got right to work. He got right to work. Frank was praying in the back seat. They had about 6 minutes on the clock, weaving through traffic at 40, 60, 100 miles per hour for a ride that Google Maps says is 8 minutes away. And again, if you're able to hit those speeds, it means that you were not stuck in traffic. Why is this detail missing? Let's go to the next photo. That is just, once we get closer, you'll see, I'm just wondering what's under that mat. It looks to me like something that's foil, potentially. And when we get super close on it, you'll be able to see the color of it. And my guess there is that that's going to be something that was in the medical bag, but someone in the comments will recognize it. Let's get into these closer images. Okay, so this particular piece, at first glance, I thought it could be the Uber bag. But then I sort of also thought that it looks to me like it was a lot thicker. And I'm referring to what looks like a piece of cardboard there. It's also separate from the bag, entirely separate from the rest of the bag. And when we look at the bag, it doesn't look like it was ripped into small bits. The whole bags seem to be together. And this, it just stood out to me because it almost looked like, it reminded me just visually, what I feel like I'm looking at is like when you burn the edges of a cardboard. I was sort of referencing that when I was a kid and we didn't have lighters. I used to just like grab a box and go to the gas stove and light that on fire and then light the candle and blow it out. And that just is what it sort of looks like to me. Our team also posited that maybe it just looks that way because it could just be heavy blood, or by the way,
there's no way that heavy blood would cause, like, this is ash, bro. Like, it's clearly burnt, right? Bro, you know what I was just thinking? He had a chest pad on ice. I think they said he had like a light chest plate. Not a full bulletproof, chest plate, I don't think. But they said like one that was a little bit thinner that, didn't stand out too much. This looks like maybe it's part of that chest plate blown up with some blood on it, bro.
Would be something that people in the medical community will recognize. That's a standard paper brown color, so to speak, cardboard color, so to speak. So,
and it's that color because of the blood and because it was burnt.
It obviously has blood on it. It looks thicker to me. The way that it's sitting just looks thicker to me. But of course, I could be wrong. We're just allowing you guys to weigh in on that, like what that could be, why that would be separated from the bag, which while it is damaged, the two bags, the Uber bags are together and on the other side and not that drenched. They look more like, again, like somebody sort of wiped their hands very quickly because they didn't have paper towels, not really having that drenching, and none of the ends of the paper bag look like that. So that's a point of curiosity for us. If we can get to that bag, I want to share this with you so everybody is able to have this at home. And if anybody recognizes that in the back, and Ash, I'm sure you're monitoring the comments. If we see anything, somebody saying, why is it burnt? I don't know if it is burnt. My eyes just looking at it would describe that as a burnt cardboard piece, thicker in measure, so to speak. But it could also be something that is totally benign and looks that way for some specific reason that makes sense. It's burnt car. Oh, someone is saying that in the back of that could be a taser. I thought that too. I tried to look up taser brands because that would be something that I thought for a second, because I did remember that Rick Cutler had something on his back when he was running in there. And I thought it would make sense that he would just throw it off so that he could sit more properly. But it didn't match what Rick Cutler had on him. So interesting. People in the comments, Skylar is saying, is that it could be a pulse force. What'd you say? 402? Okay. I like that. We did think it could be more medical standard that somebody has on them. I'd like to identify the brand. We've got every country in the world watching this. Somebody is going to recognize a specific brand, so we can go check off and just begin to sort through everything that we're seeing. That was our mindset. We were going taser, binoculars, something. Oh, Ashley figured that out. SantaMedical.com. Okay, can you go back to the photo? There we go. Figured out. Oh, but go back again. Great. That's amazing. So Ash, for like, you couldn't figure it out, and now all of a sudden we're live. You're just trying to be a star right now? If you're trying to be a star, you're trying to be a star. You're trying to have a breakout.
Yeah, you're telling me that before they went on air, they couldn't do this? I mean, come on.
Moment right now. She probably knew that for weeks. Ash, good old Ash. Very good. That is SantaMedical.com, and that is likely what that is. So I would assume then that correlates with what Brian Harpole said. He something to do with the gauze or like the hemostatic packing. I don't, but I feel like some medical person will be like, oh yeah, that's what it looks like on the inside. There's like a foil, I don't know, something. I actually was going to go buy some of the stuff that he said that he had. Maybe it's wrapped in something. Maybe it's a sheet that you put people on. And in case it's sort of losing this image as we're live right now, I want you.
Probably emergency blanket. That's what it could be to me. One of those little emergency thin blankets.
Guys to know that it's almost coppery is what it looks like. There definitely has, I would say, like a coppery foil look to it. As all of us are looking at that. This is not obviously a clean enough image for us to, know up from down, but that's the best that we have out, that we are looking at glass. Okay, it's glass. It just is black glass, tempered glass on all over the car. Especially this is now, as you saw, in between the two captain chairs, right about where if they were taking it off of Charlie's shirt or body, we would expect to see that. I had whipped up a scenario where rather than providing CPR, they may have, what Frank may have been doing, which got blood in his hands, was trying to get Charlie's shirt off of him, because I do not believe for a single second that scene took place at the hospital. And this is just undeniable now. This is undeniable. So find your commentators who called it a conspiracy and laughed now and said this could never, well, these are the worst people. Many of them across the many events Charlie had put on stage and given a spotlight by Charlie Kirk. And they are now full-time trying to convince you that you shouldn't believe your own eyes and you should trust the feds. I know vengeance does not belong to me, but I have to tell you, it is really hard for me to curb the frustration, the anger, the disappointment, and equal parts rage that I feel toward those people. Here it is. Any questions about whether that's tempered glass? Now, you can say, you can't necessarily, we all agree it's glass, but it's definitely definitively not the car glass. But you could say, okay, let's arrive at this point. We'll say, I agree. Charlie's Rode microphone is shouted on the car, but it doesn't mean that it was rigged. Let's play devil's advocate. Doesn't mean that it was rigged. Okay. So tell us how it was broken in the car. You go be the conspiracy theorist, because that's what you're going to have to do. Your stories are going to have to get dumber and dumber. And while you're at it, could you also tell us why it is that despite telling what happened in that car many times. Oh, I didn't realize my kids were on the back seat. They heard everything. Frank's praying. We're speeding. We're weaving through traffic. I'm just packing that wound. Nobody mentioned this?
Her kids were in the... I did not know that. So her kids were in the car?
Nobody mentioned this at all? By the way, one of the immediate questions I had was, well, why didn't we see as they were carrying it to the car, as they were carrying Charlie to the car, why didn't we?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, bro. I'm thinking, because they make like skin colored looking Kevlar suits like that. And I'm thinking it explodes. You know, it falls out of his shirt somehow into the car. Once they put him in the car, all the glass falls out to his shirt in the middle here because they put his head and chest area on this far chair. On this far car seat, and everything's spelled out here. I mean, that's plausible to me.
So you see some of that fall down. I had no idea that this is sticky glass, that there's an adhesive that is attached to it. Like, think about when you put a screen on your phone. It has this, it literally, if you look it up, tempered glass phone, it's an adhesive. So it actually sticks everywhere. It sticks once it's on a fabric, it sticks. So I was just going, okay, well, like, and there is some that actually fell in front of Charlie, and John Bray's
Well,
getting...
small glass would stick anyway. They should just fucking... What'd they do with his shirt? His shirt should have been examined, and that should have been put in the evidence. Like, what was all on his shirt? You know?
Those photos, when there was an immediate impact, like that pieces that flew. And you know what it does? It actually answers a question that I've had for a very long time, and we are declining to show the photo because it's so graphic, of why they held Charlie, and forgive my language, why they held Charlie like they were a bunch of assholes as they carried him to the car. Nobody was focused on securing his neck. His neck was literally flopping, okay? We have those images. The audacity of Brian Harpole to sue me over his incompetence. You can't call me incompetent. Watch the way Charlie is carried to the car, case closed, okay? His neck is literally flopping, and it seems like they're more concerned with holding him here. Again, we didn't have time to edit the photos in a place that I felt would have been comfortable. But Charlie's head is literally flopping, and it's like they're more concerned with his chest. They don't care about his legs. They don't. It's like they're concerned with his shirt almost. Like his shirt is actually it's coming up. You can see his torso. You know what I think? I think it's plausible. It might not be right, but it's plausible. Is that if you had a bunch of tempered glass that was sticking to him as a fabric, you would bunch up that shirt like it was a purse to make sure it wasn't seen by the public. Your focus would be actually Charlie's shirt. And if you go back, there is no way that many men could not hold Charlie flat and secure his neck properly as they got him into the car. That does not make sense. You know that does not make sense. Big bad security, $1 million of years being spent on the security apparatus.
Yeah, but like, how could you even... I mean, the seat in the middle is gone, so how'd you even stabilize him, you know?
And you guys can't hold him flat? And this? Why is his shirt up at all? Because I think you're scooping something in there. Something's there that's sticking. That's an opinion, not a fact. But I'm going to think, well, it's still legal to do so, and it's barely legal to do so. So we can totally dismiss what everybody has told you about this theory not having legs, because now they need to tell us how it happened. Are they going to say more miracles? More Judeo-Christian slop miracles that took place that day? Or maybe Andrew will issue a tweet. Maybe Erica will say that he went rogue. I think Andrew Colvett might go rogue again today. And he's going to say, we called and we asked, and it was a miracle. Not only did Charlie's neck stop, 3,000 pounds of energy coming at him, ricochet off of the back of his spine, but it also moved forward and shattered his mic, which was placed here. I don't know. If he's got a steel neck, I'd assume he has a steel rib cage or something. And he probably saved a lot of people. If that mic hadn't shattered, Charlie Kirk would not have saved more people that day because the bullet was doing magical things. I think that's what we can expect because a bunch of bits in his car. Brian Harpole seemed to have forgotten about that in their many retellings of what took place in that car across multiple interviews. Why nobody mentioned this? Where is Charlie's shirt? Andrew Colvett.
Oh, I
You're
just
the
said
spokesperson.
that.
I'm trying to point you saying, where is Charlie's shirt? To the people that are working at Turning Point USA, any of this strike you as odd? Do you really think that by putting stickers on the ground that say for Charlie, you guys are for Charlie? We have t-shirts that says for Charlie. Really? You're for Charlie? I wonder about that. I wonder about so many people at that organization. And I have to say that the response to this will give me the answer. It will furnish the answer, because you can only play stupid and make excuses for so long before you are simply siding with plain evil, satanic evil, to be clear. But what of Mikey McCoy? Here, I'll tell you my perspective of Mikey McCoy. I know there's a clip going around, and I told you guys from the very beginning that one of the things I was told about Mikey in the hospital was that they were lying. If you go back and watch our episodes, I said really early on that them saying that Mikey was amazing, Erica the first to say it at the podium, he was amazing, he snapped into action, that was patently untrue. Mikey was the most emotionally impacted. He did not have it together. And a clip went around showing Mikey, I don't know if you guys can pull it, of him when they were carrying Charlie's casket out of the hospital. And you catch in the background, Mikey looks like he's physically sick. This clip, I don't know when it came out. It recently went viral, but I've been telling you the whole time. That Mikey that was in the background, that was physically sick, is what I was told from the very beginning. Mikey was impacted by this in a way that leads me to believe that Mikey did not know that Charlie was going to die on that day. Do I think Mikey knew something was going to happen with the speed that he called his wife? Do I think that Mikey McCoy was prepared for Charlie to die that day? No. I do not believe that. I don't believe that. Not with that reaction, not with what I was told. Mikey had raw emotion at the hospital. Of all of them, Mikey was the most upset, and yet they then all came out and tried to spin a tale that he just like jumped into adrenaline action and was calling the shots, and that's obviously not true. He couldn't even hold the casket. He was holding his stomach like he was going to become ill. He was ill. Mikey had a soul. Does he still have one now? Are like the meetings with Doug DeGroot talking about investment and what you're going to do? Is that what they're pumping Mikey with right now? Hey, Mikey, you're going to be the next Charlie. We're going to make so much money. Here's the video right here. We're showing you. Look at Mikey right there. The black behind. Look at him.
I never even noticed
That was Mikey at the hospital. Are like the meetings with Doug DeGroot talking about investments and what you're going to do? Is that what they're pumping Mikey with right now? Hey, Mikey, you're going to be the next Charlie. We're going to make so much money. Here's the video right here. We're showing you. Look at Mikey right there. The black behind. Look at him.
Yeah, he does. He does look like he's.
That was Mikey at the hospital, I was told. Not an active participant calling the shots and making things happen. And I think that they pumped him with that rhetoric. And
my question too, and my question from the beginning has been why is Andrew Colvett, Mikey McCoy, and all these other people at the hospital picking up the casket? Like, does Charlie Kirk not have family, right? I'm pretty sure if my family member dies, no one's grabbing that casket but my family. Right?
Those names and adjectives because they were reassuring him in some way. What now of Pastor Frank Turek? Man, I'd love to watch him proselytize right now. Sign me up. If you're at a church, he's got the mic. What of him? Can you explain it, Frank? You've said a lot about me. In fact, I received an email last that you guys knew I was going to be a problem from the beginning. Before I even knew that we were not on the same side, you guys knew we wouldn't be. That's stunning to me. Someone sent me a photo in Arlington that they had made a poster at Charlie's memorial site, one of the many around the country, and they had wrote on the poster, "Don't worry, your big sister can also figure out what happened." And the Turning Point staff removed the poster. Sent me the photos and everything. I don't have it for you today because we were planning on doing a show. And they saw them whispering, and they removed the poster. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. You just didn't know you were going to do a show. We have the photos, but airdrop it, bro.
Knew from the beginning that I was not going to get in line with this. And good on them. They were proven correct. That's the smartest inclination they've had since the beginning of this thing, I would say. Of course, the biggest question is, that's a smile. You can do, Erica. Stage another scene of you crying while you operate behind the scenes, try to take people down, setting up people like you're a queen for them to sacrifice themselves for you, telling lies, trying to make all of the things that don't make any sense somehow register as true. How's our emotional asset doing today? Anybody want to check in? It's a smile I just could not put on following my husband's public assassination. But hey, it's Nicki Minaj. Haven't seen her that happy really since. I think The happiest we ever saw Erica was when she walked out to that stadium on September 21st, and the whole world was with her. Because she thought she had it made. She's been struggling to come up for air since, and I want to be very clear. It is the most important thing to me that no harm comes to Erica. The most important thing. Their message, oh, investigating this, she's getting death threats. No, let's be very clear on my intention in this investigation. I want Erica to outlive everyone. Long live Erica Franzwey. Death is easy, actually. Death is easy. Living a long life when everybody knows who and what you are a part of and what you did. Long live Erica Franzwey. We're going to take
Bear, calm down. Allegedly, Candace.
a quick break because this is not meant to be a long episode, and then I will get into some of your comments. Or the military power. Everyone knows it's horseshit. You do too.
It's kind of just going off on this stream. I'm not gonna lie. It has definitely some energy to it.
Yeah,
I'll listen to a couple more minutes of it, then I'm gonna get off, y'all.
Turning Point USA. That's what I think. Anyway, but I hope you guys realize now you won't. None of you will have it. None of you will have it. It will burn to the ground. The whole world knows that the story you were trying to spin, despite the celebrity power, the political power, the military power, everyone knows it's horseshit. You do too. Did you really think Blakey Neff, Graham Allen, and Paramount Not So Tactical were going to delude the public into the absurd story that you tried to spin? It doesn't work like that, you know. You tried to direct Charlie's energy. It was too big for that. His energy went exactly where he would have wanted it to go.
Looks like there's a breeze out, though.
The entire world waking up to true evil. That's it. There it is. That's for Charlie. Nobody needed a sticker to make that happen. No one needed a t-shirt. They just needed truth, which is what he committed himself to. And there is maybe the smallest amount of comfort in knowing that he consciously knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to die, and he chose to do it anyway. Like he knew that his death would matter. So none of you are going to have it. Just wanted to let you know that. Anyway, I also wanted to show you very quickly this clip because it's crazy.
Bro, so many flies.
So this was going viral as well. You know, Erica and God, always at the right moments. Charlie had shared something interesting. We covered Butler, how there seems to be some possible thread here, similar things going on. Did you guys know that the Butler shooting happened on a Saturday? On Saturdays, Charlie turns his phone off. And yeah, on that particular Saturday, he didn't because Erica, I don't know, had another one of these visions from God. Take a listen to what Charlie shared.
Tell us about how do you find out about this happening? I keep asking everybody this.
Yeah.
Tell us what your initial reaction was that night.
It was a really strange day. I usually turn my phone off on Saturdays. I honor the Shabbat. And I'm not Jewish, but I think it's important that we Christians do. And yet I had my phone on because I was trying to help make J.D. Vance the Vice President of the United States. So it's had some calls to make. Let's just put it that way.
We'll put it that way.
And
yeah.
so my phone was on, and Erica, my wife, was like, "Yeah, I think God wants you to have your phone on today." I was like, "Okay, sure." So we went down to our complex has this big gym, and I had my daughter in my arms, and I just turned to the television screen.
Come out. That's it.
And because I saw
that's it. You can. That's it. How strange. Gosh, she's just so plugged in this way. God wants your phone on. And wow, he probably was like, my wife.
That's crazy.
My wife, she really just is so godly. Yeah. You should ask her who in her phone is saved as God in her as a contact. Is it Bibi Netanyahu? I mean, I do think maybe God told her to have your phone on that day. I just don't know who she saved in her phone as God. It's all so despicable. It's all so despicable. You cannot make it. It takes so much out of me to understand, to comprehend what these people not did to him, are currently doing to him. They can't stop. They can't stop. They can't just stop and go, you know what? I actually don't want to burn in hell for an eternity. And is there still a window of opportunity for people who are in there who, yeah, do I know more stuff? Yes, of course I do. I'm not an idiot. Why does Candace just drop everything she has in one episode? Oh yeah, I love Checkers. Why doesn't she just say everything so we can just all commute and change our stories and make everything fit and then stick to it? You guys think I'm an idiot? Do you think I'm an idiot? Did you really think I'm going to be tempted by Paramount Not So Tactical? I'm just amazed at the stupidity, the people they're sending out. We deserve better psyops. We really deserve better psyops. People with a higher IQ. Anyway, top comment from yesterday's episode from Kupro. Obviously, we are watching the greatest investigative journalist of our time. You're watching a mirror. It's you guys at home, people that are invested in sending tips, and you have a very small, hardworking team that is ready to read through everything and to do the work because there was a real friendship. Charlie had a friend in me. He did. We had great times, and he should be here raising his kids. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's such a weird thing to watch them try to change everything that he stood for, lie to us about who his friends are, who his friends were. I mean, we had really great times. We had just so much laughter, so much fun, so much exhaustion, so many Starbucks coffees. He always texted, "Oh, can you go down and get a latte? Can you go down and get a latte? 5 a.m." Like I said to you guys, the early morning Walmart stuff, when your suitcase didn't go through, a broken suitcase, got to go through the airport, got to find a cheap one. Do I look good in these sunglasses? I'm going down to the southern border. Like, he had so much personality and so much energy and a vision. You can't kill the visionary and replace us with the occult. Replace it with the occult. That's what you guys registered the public as, a bunch of occultists. It's dark. Maybe you can offer money to idiots to take your money who want to sell their soul to the devil, who will work for you and run around and be loyal to you for those reasons. But, everyone has to make their own deals in life. Maddie's comment is, what's always disturbed me is how calm all of Charlie's friends were. Giving interviews in the first few days after his death, there were no tears, no shaky voices, nothing. They gave interviews about what should have been the most traumatic thing they've ever witnessed, like they were presenting the morning traffic report. Charlie deserves better. I will say I agree with you. How I was stunned by how quickly they moved toward acceptance. Like, I did not accept it. I don't accept it. I now accept he's dead. He's not coming back. I had to close that, whatever mental derangement I went through as I was grieving, that I wanted to believe that he was in like witness protection in like New Zealand or something. Like, I just needed to find a pocket of the internet that made me think he was still alive. I had to.
No, you're good. I'm gonna get off anyway here in a minute. I appreciate
get
you guys
to that
for
part of
sticking with me.
acceptance. Charlie's not coming back. You're never gonna be able to talk to him on this earth.
A
I had
long
to
time.
swallow that, and that took me until Q1 of this year. These people were on the news like, yeah, it's legacy. This is what he wants, and let's go forward. It's for him. Not to be morbid, husband's dead. Turning Point 2.0 is here. And we sold a lot of hats, and he's in the office. His spirit's in the office. Get to work. God told me. Comments coming in right now. Go Max writes, I am thankful each and every day that you use your platform for
All right, we're done. I can't listen to her go through all the comments, but there's some truth to what she's saying, man. Now I can understand the whole like holding the evidence with that explanation, where it's like they keep trying to conform to the story, they keep trying to get it to match or play out to what Candace says could possibly just be like, yeah, okay, this happened, but whatever, like, and make themselves look good, versus like it looks way worse if like Candace keeps dropping new shit. It's like, well, you lied about this now, or what about this? And they consistently have to change their shit. That's what's gonna make people look at it and be like, damn, man, they're not genuine at all, So, but yeah, man, Stacy, Wisconsin, everybody else, man, Skippy, you weren't here, but I love you too, brother. Much love to everybody for being here, man, today. It wasn't a regular stream. It was a stream that I needed to do just to see if I can't get some good clips of some videos and stuff. Because, yeah, but I appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to go eat a good lunch before I got to go pick up my daughters. I hope y'all have a blessed day, and I hope y'all have a good weekend, man. Hopefully I'm on here, but we'll see. Much love there.